Hey friends, I'm Aaron Ciotti. Everybody calls me Ciotti. Welcome to the show. Good Lord. I jumped into Joshua Bardwell's stream at like 9:20, 9:30, and it's Blunty was screaming. Blunty was just screaming. It was such a great spot to open. They were talking about the whole drone Camps Botgrinder drama. That was wild. Yeah, so basically exactly what we talked about yesterday. Joshua and Blunty were just, of the exact same mind. So we'll pretty much leave it there. I think I said everything that I had to say yesterday. You should watch the last 45 minutes of Joshua's live stream if you missed it. Because they had some other really good points, and it looks like Joshua and Justin kind of got into it a little bit, and you know, you can probably guess how that went. So yeah, good Lord, that was what a whoo boy. What a shit show. But hey, it is what it is. Cole Powers was first. Freelo Joe was next. David 4F. Northern Tier. Danzilla the Terrible. Tongue Out FPV. Jamie Lee FPV. C. Will. Matt Norton. Bob Bruce. Cole Powers. Mr. Blue Sky. Not Applicable. Lucky. Stephen Woodruff. Skylect. Brad Mondin. Johnny Then. Frank Nicholas. Bren. Wanna Get Fly. Brandon's Baked Beans. Fly Tribe Magazine is in the house. What's up, fellas? Thanks for jumping in. Raging 1/3. Raging Leet. I know gamer things sometimes. Robert G. Rain Squad. Iron Mask. Mick Mucus. Nathan Otis. I kept wanting to say Ortiz. Mr. Blue Sky. Jackalope. Jackalope, I haven't seen you in a while, man. How you been? Taylor Owen. Iron Mask again. Drone Champs. Drone Champs, eh? Okay, who is that? Who? Professor? Here we go. YouTube makes it a little too easy to change your name and or to start a new account. Kevin James, Abraham, Wanna Get Fly, Mr. Blue Sky, Wake and Bake, Tyler Walker, Great Scott, Iron Mask, Lucky, Abraham. Aber, what's up, dude? I feel like I haven't seen you in a while either. 661FPV, Fun Per Volts, Iron Mask again, JNK Tech Stuff, Terry Burnett, Twisted Carbon, 661 Wid, Nathan Otis again, Zach is in the house, JP Spin, YouTube just did the thing, I don't know where I was. I'm going to miss some people. It's YouTube's fault. CMYKFPV, Bitter Root, C-Bagsy, we got that, I think I got almost everybody. Bob Noxious is in the house. Fork-Tailed Devil. Degal Pup. Adam Weston, Twisted Skies. 661. AliExpress Affiliate Link Manager is here. Lawn Dart RC Mars. Look, guys. Let's let it go. Let's let it go. Let's try our best to let it go. Let's try really hard to let it go. Let's just move on. let's move on. How about that? All right? Let's just Oh, dude, I hate to laugh because what a fucking shit show, but like, oh man, like this is the internet, yo. Like you don't fuck around on the internet. There's shit you don't do. There's shit that you don't do on the internet. The internet is forever, and there's just shit that you don't do. And when people do that shit that you don't do, it just turns into an instantaneous dumpster fire, and it's forever. And it sucks, man. It really sucks. And quite honestly, I am very lucky, very, very lucky that I haven't been in the middle of some shit like that before, because I am just a loudmouth motherfucker, and I just say, I mean, much less so over the last like year or two, but early days of this live stream, I just didn't care. I just did not care. And to some extent, I still kind of don't care. Which is, again, why I'm pretty surprised it hasn't happened to me. But at the same time, like, I don't know, like, I understand what you don't do on the internet, and I keep it, you know, like, when I talk shit, it's shit talk that's based in, like, hopefully fact. If not fact, then, like, a good amount of testing, and like, you know, so it's sort of deserved in a weird way. I don't know. If you want to talk directly to me in the chat, all you got to do is type CiottiFPV. If you do that, it'll light up an orange for me, and I will read your message. Just like, you know, when you meet somebody in the real world, and you say their name, and then you say other words to them. But first, you say their name. So do that. You can do that to each other, and for the person whose name it is, it'll show up in orange. We've of course got our fuzzy-ass little visitor. Come here, buddy. Oh, are you over by the door? Are you telling me that you want to go outside to go pee? All right, here he is. This is everyone's favorite dog, Teddy Spaghetti. His name is Teddy Spaghetti because he's got worms. He doesn't. That's a Frasier joke. Oh God. Okay, I get it. If you want more Teddy Spaghetti content, jump onto my Instagram. I posted Did I post it? I might not have posted it. I meant to post a 240 frame per second banger. I hate the word banger. I hate everything. I hate everything that's no, I didn't post it, but I'm gonna post it just for you. Fresh Teddy Spaghetti content over on Instagram. What's a song that I can put? I'm gonna pick an X-Men song. Is that a good idea? Could be cool. One Love? One Love. We're going with One Love. This is gonna be a pretty random song, but I just want to get this up, so I'm not a liar. Actually, does kind of work. That's pretty good. Jump over to my Instagram. You can get to my Instagram by going over to CiottiFPV.com and clicking the button that looks like the Instagram logo. Over there on that little website that I've got has a whole bunch of different ways you can support me. This is a completely crowdfunded thing that I've got going. This way, when I review stuff, I don't care if it's garbage. I'll tell you it's garbage because I'm not relying on whatever company makes it to send me more stuff. So, yeah, your support is greatly appreciated. You guys are too kind. Let's keep it going, and I'll keep doing this till I die. How's that? Which could be any day now. Because, you know, we don't know. We don't know. We got to live every single day because we could just drop dead in the morning or get hit by a car. What the fuck? What is happening here? Hold on. Let me just eject No Name real quick. What's happening? Tonight we are going to have a 75mm party. I've got two Walksnail 75mm rigs that I've been working really hard on to try to figure out the absolute best motor, prop, all-up weight, frame combo for a really, really, really good freestyle 75mm motor-to-motor HD Walksnail 1080/60 frame rig. And I think I'm there. I have a little bit more work to do because I have to pull the bells off of these 33,000K stators and replace them with bells that have a 1.5mm motor shaft that are going to be more durable. But after that, I think we're there. I think the ultimate freestyle 75mm Walksnail Tiny Whoop is this right here, Meteor 75 airframe. I have not tested this frame for durability though, so we might end up going back to the Mobula7 V4 frame. But so one of those two frames, and then the Tiny Whoop Imoptura 0802 33,000 kV motors. Unfortunately, those motors only have a 1mm motor shaft, which is why I'm going to have to take these apart and swap the bells over. The bells that I'm putting on are from the 802 iGao 27,000 kV motors, which have a 1.5mm motor shaft up above the bell, which makes a huge difference in durability. BetaFPV 5-amp cross AIO, Walksnail light, Mobula 6 canopy, True RC antenna, BT 2.0, and then your choice on the batteries. If you want more runtime, there are a bunch of folded cell 450s. These are from WeBleed FPV, but I'm pretty sure that Tiny Whoop also sells these, and I think they're the same exact battery. Or if you really want to chase the lightweight dragon, Emax makes these little 300 mAh fatty cells, and Quad 66 and I kind of figured out that these are an old school GNB battery that Quad 66 says are his favorite of this style, like fat battery that he's ever run. And I trust his opinion because he's an awesome pilot, super brilliant guy. And so GNB doesn't sell them anymore, but Emax has these, and they're the same C rating, and they look a lot like a GNB battery. So we're 99% sure that this is that battery, and the performance of this battery is fantastic. So if you really want to chase the lightweight, this is the one that you would do. Unfortunately, these batteries come with a GNB 27 connector, which is kind of dead. So you're going to have to cut that connector off and solder on a BT 2.0, which admittedly sucks. I really don't like... soldering up a BT 2.0 lead it's a little challenging because of the way that you have to solder to the posts, and it's very small and tight. It's very easy to bridge them together. And when you're soldering on a battery, if you bridge them together, it's really nasty. So I would not necessarily recommend going this route. I would just take the weight penalty and just run these 450s. But if you're handy with a soldering iron, you're willing to take the chance, yeah, this is a brilliant battery from Emax with the wrong connector on it, unfortunately. But I've done 4, maybe 6 of these, and I haven't accidentally bridged any of them and had the battery light on fire. You know, even at like 3.5 volts per cell, if you bridge these, this battery is more than likely going to catch on fire. If you're lucky, it'll just smoke, but it's going to get really hot, and it's just, yeah, it's bad. I usually don't mess with batteries at all when it comes to soldering. Like, if the battery leads get wrecked, I'll wrap it up in electric tape, or use a little bit of liquid electric tape. But beyond that, like, I'll just throw them away. Just get rid of them. It's not worth burning your house down. But yeah, in this case, I was really desperate to run these batteries because back when I did this, it was back when I was trying to get a 75mm analog rig to fly anywhere near as good as the 65s. And this was just out of like desperation that I did this, and it didn't end up really working out for me. But that's okay. It was a good little adventure in burning the house down. So yeah, tonight we're gonna fly both of these Walksnail rigs, and then we're also gonna fly the Jungle Gym Basher, which is gonna be just a nightmare inside, because it's just, you know, because 75, that's why. And then we are also going to fly the, I mean, if you guys really want me to, I'll put a tiny lifter up in the air, but I wasn't planning on it. We're also going to fly, this is basically a NewBeeDrone Hummingbird V3 transplanted over into a Mobula7 V4 frame. It's not actually that. What it actually is an AcroBee V4 flight controller, but it's basically the same thing. The flight controller doesn't really affect flight performance. It affects livability and durability and some other stuff like that. But this has the Hummingbird V3 motors on it, which are really the only thing that's going to affect the flight performance. And it's got the Hummingbird canopy and camera, although those are exactly the same between the AcroBee and the Hummingbird. But yeah, this will give you an idea of what kind of flight performance you can get from a Hummingbird V3, just a tiny little bit heavier. You would actually get better performance if you were to transfer your Hummingbird V3 over into a 75mm frame, put it on the Gemfan 1.6-inch buys, and put BT 2.0 on it. And it's really like, yeah, it's really, really good. So the motors that come on the Hummingbird V3 are 0802 25,000 kV. And on a 1.2-inch propellered rig, which is 65mm tiny whoop, it's just not quite enough for like really floaty, zero gravity freestyle, which is kind of what I do around here. And so, but on a 75mm build, 802 25,000s are fantastic, and you'll get to see that when we put this thing up in the air in a little bit, and then you can compare it to 0802 27,000 kV motors. So this is kind of cool. We're gonna have 25,000 kV versus 27,000 kV, and then we're gonna have 30,000 kV versus 33,000 kV. These builds are incredibly similar. Actually, these builds are identical, other than the motors. No, they're not. No, they're not. One of these still has the heat shield on. Yeah, this one on the lower kV motors, unfortunately, still has the heat shield on the Walksnail VTX, so it's a gram and change heavier. These two are on completely different AIOs. This is on a HappyModel X12. Like I said, this is on the AcroBee AIO. But they're actually pretty. These two AIOs are very similar in weight. So. But they are from totally different companies. You're going to get to really see a difference in video quality between these two. NewBeeDrone does not use the sort of standard OSD chip. They use a much smaller OSD chip so that they can squeeze more stuff onto the board. Unfortunately, the smaller OSD chip and setup that they've got, basically the OSD is a transparent layer that gets put in front of the video coming out of your camera. And for whatever reason, the setup that NewBeeDrone has, and realistically here, this is the penalty of them doing it with a smaller chip, that translucent layer is a little bit less translucent than if they were to use the gigantic, like, standard OSD chip that everybody else uses. If you ever look at a flight controller, the biggest chip is going to be square, and that's either the F4 or F7 processor. There's another chip, the second biggest chip, which is a big-ass rectangle. That's the OSD. All that giant chip does is put the OSD on screen. Like, it's crazy how much real estate that OSD chip uses. And with tiny whoops, that's a big deal. So it's really, really, really cool that NewBeeDrone figured out a way around that, because it's allowed them to make the AcroBee flight AIO have things like 2S support and higher amperage FETs. that they wouldn't be able to do if they used that standard giant OSD chip. The trade-off is that you get a little bit of muddiness in the video, and you'll get to see that. It is going to be two totally different cameras. This has the NewBeeDrone BI camera. This has a Foxeer Razor Pico. But they're both like pretty decent middle of the road kind of cameras. Like there's nothing super special about either camera. So yeah, it's not like this Razor Pico camera is the best FPV camera ever, and then this BI is the worst one or something like that. They're both really, really good. I actually really like the BI camera. It has a really nice wide field of view. The Pico Razor camera, I don't really have many opinions on, which is a good thing, right? Because I don't have any bad opinions on it either. It's just a standard, like, really decent analog camera. So yeah, you'll get to really see the difference between the NewBeeDrone OSD and the normal OSD. The NewBeeDrone setup is not unflyable at all, and honestly, analog looks like shit no matter what. So you could totally say, like, you know, I just don't care, and you would not be wrong. But people ask to see it every once in a while, and tonight you'll get to see it. So that's the plan. Flying these is going to be a part of our 6 batteries a day adventure. I would love for you to join me on that. Basically, it's just that if you start flying 6 Tiny Whoop batteries a day, you are going to progress as a pilot like a motherfucker. It's like 6 batteries. The reason we chose 6 batteries is that that's how many batteries that most of these chargers will charge at a time. So if every single morning you throw 6 batteries on the charger, and then at some point during that day you fly those batteries, you're going to see your piloting skills just explode. That daily or every other day at the least, exposure and stick time over and over and over again on hopefully like the same rig over and over and over, that is going to really transform you as a pilot. And it's, you know, getting good as a pilot. Hey, Joshua, what's up, brother? Thank you, dude. Very cool of you. Yeah, that is what's going to... oh, no, what I was about to say is getting good feels good. Like, getting good at flying FPV feels really good. A, because it's incredibly difficult. Like, we all really need to, like, sit back at some point, more often than we do, and just understand how incredibly difficult FPV is. Like, the reason why there are so few of us is because of how hard it is, right? Like, most people, like, as difficult as their life gets in terms of, like, hobbies, is, like, putting the bottom of their easy chair up to watch another goddamn football game, right? Like, we've chosen something that requires us to be like social media professionals, engineers, like electrical engineers, electrical technicians, pilots, like master troubleshooters, on and on and on and on and on we go. And it is just so difficult. So, like, for real, pat yourself on the back every once in a while for, like, even remotely being able to stay in FPV, being able to get started and then being able to stay in it. Although that just kind of means that you're a stubborn bastard, but you're in good company. And then, so, like, to get good at that thing that is just absurdly difficult is a huge achievement. And, like, it's nice because, like, once you're able to, like, look at your flying and be like, yeah, and, like, kind of be happy about it rather than just like, oh, I suck. It's really, really nice. And in my experience, the only way to get there is to do something like this, to do something where you fly every day or every other day. Like, the once a week thing, the twice a week thing, like, that's great and that's fun, but you're not going to get noticeably better, like, week over week, month over month, in my experience. Like, you have to hit it hard if you really want to get good. My second, third, and fourth year in FPV, I was just hell-bent, absolutely hell-bent on getting good. And, like, I probably spent 8 8 or so hours a day every day on just FPV. At the time, I was working jobs that I hated, and so I was just watching FPV content like for a big chunk of my day at work, and then I would come home and just completely envelop myself in it. I was flying like 10, 15, 20 batteries a day every day off the deck in my apartment in Charleston, and just, yeah, like put the time in, put a ton of time in. Not everybody can do that. Most people can't do that, but look, you can put 6 batteries a day in. You can free up the amount of time that it will take you to fly 6 Tiny Whoop batteries a day. Tiny Whoops are quick, easy, durable. You don't have to go anywhere. It's a very small time investment, all things considered, right? You throw the batteries on the charger, you give them 15, 20 minutes to get all maxed out. That's your 6 batteries. You're going to get about 3 to 4 minutes per battery. You can fly it right back onto your lap, unplug, swap, plug back in. There's like, you know, God forbid you crash it somewhere unrecoverable. You've got to walk 5 feet rather than 0.5 of a mile, right? Like going out and flying is such an unbelievably, it's a much, much, much bigger time investment. You've got 10 to 30 minutes of a commute to get there. You're going to fuck around with your gear for another 10 or 15 minutes to get it all ready. You're going to crash 6 times, 10 times, 15 times. Every single time you crash, you're going to walk between 1 and 5 minutes out to get it. You've probably got a bent propeller. Now you got to change your propeller. That's another 2 or 3 minutes. And then you're back up in the air, and then it all happens again. So like going outside and flying, realistically, you're looking at like a 2-hour chunk to get a decent amount of stick time in where you can really like get dialed and get better. Whereas like I was not always like, I've always kind of been like the micro guy, but like I was like the 2.5 inch and 3 inch micro guy. Don't you dare clip that, you fucks. Only until it was only very recently that like I started to become known as like the Tiny Whoop guy. And like it's weird because I didn't really do that on purpose. Like the whole 3-inch rig thing was totally on purpose because I could fly that in places that I couldn't fly other stuff. Botgrinder, what's up, dude? Everybody's coming. Should we just stop all this serious talk and just never mind. No, let me not go there. Look, if you guys want drama, yesterday's live stream, the tail end of Joshua's live stream from a minute ago, we're gonna move on. I said what I had to say yesterday, so yeah, we're not gonna give in to the temptation to just be drama queens. But yeah, I've always loved tiny whooping, I really have. But in the brushed motor days, tiny whooping was not a 3-dimensional flight experience. And if you're running like less than 30,000 kV motors, it still kind of isn't. With 30,000, 32,000, 36,000 kV motors, and now on the 75mm rigs, 30,000, 33,000, tiny whooping is a fully 3-dimensional, just like 5-inch, just like 3-inch, everything else in FPV really, flight experience. And you can get full-blown Matty flips in, full-blown power loops, stalls, wall rides, ceiling taps. You can do all of the things. And that is really what I've absolutely fallen in love with over the last like year or so, that these motors have finally been made. And the GemFan BiBlade props have also been a big part of this, because they're just absurd. They're so efficient. They make so much thrust. They make these things feel way more like heavier rigs in the way that they're willing to slide around and carry when you're off throttle. And yeah, it's just been magic. And like, I swear to God, I get like a message every other day at this point from someone who has followed the Ultimate Freestyle Tiny Whoop formula, saying just like, dude, holy shit, like this is a whole different thing. Like that's like the most common thing that I get. And I know I say it a lot, but like it it makes me feel so good to hear that from other people, because sometimes I'm like, is it just me? Like, am I the only one that's like realized how fun and like easy and at home and like this is? So yeah, thanks to all of you that have trusted me and done the build. It's also an incredibly cheap build, right? It's like $150 build. Unfortunately, it's analog, and some people that have gotten into the hobby recently have dove straight into digital. So it becomes a lot more expensive of a build, but you can still find Fat Sharks and all kinds of really good analog goggles on Facebook Marketplace, on all of the FPV marketplaces. I have my own little marketplace Facebook group that you'll get access to if you join my Discord for $3 a month. So yeah, loads of places that you can get your hands on a set of analog goggles for not a whole lot of money. And what's really cool about analog goggles is that they're kind of bottomed out. So like if you buy a set of analog goggles today, you'll be able to sell them in a year, 2 years, whenever, for probably exactly what you've paid for them. Or maybe like 20, 30, 40 bucks less, which is a pretty damn good deal, right? Like getting to use a set of goggles for a couple of years for 40 bucks. Come on. Like, and they're Fat Sharks and they're great quality. And, you know, I mean, like, remember, right? Fat Sharks are like $400 goggles. When they were new, when my HD3s that I've had for 4 years now were new, they cost me a shitload of money. And they're still going. So like they're, you know, really, really, really well built. But they're a really, really, really nice product that you're able to basically get for like $20 or $30 or $40. I guess you're able to rent them out for a while. I am heartbroken that this camera is starting to flicker and die. That really sucks. But maybe I can find another one. I got to figure out. It's the C922. These Logitech cameras. There's one. So I have two of them. I have the C920 and the C922. It's weird, like it's not on purpose, but one of them, the focal distance is kind of tuned to be really close, so it's a great macro camera. This one, the focal distance is a little farther away, and it's a great bench cam. I'm afraid that that's a quality control issue. Like I'll try to get another one of this C922 or 920, whichever one it is, and I'll hope that it doesn't have that front focused issue that this one does, but yeah, you guys don't care about that. That's streamer talk. So yeah, Mr. Blue Sky says, CiottiFPV has helped me fly indoors with all this Colorado snow, the guru of whoop builds and tuning. Thank you, dude. Yeah, you know, that's the fact that we can fly like rip freestyle indoors. That's next level. Admittedly though, it's very difficult. And that's another reason why I'm full McGillicuddy on this 6 batteries a day thing, because like if you want to be able to start doing the shit that you see me do in this basement, you're gonna have to get good. Like it's just difficult. It really, really, really is. What you want to understand is like the scale of outside versus inside. It's not like it doesn't compute. When you fly outside and you shoot a gap, that gap is huge. The gap is going to be like 5 feet by 4 feet or whatever. When you shoot a gap inside, it's going to be 5 inches by 4 inches. And the quads that we fly inside are not that much smaller, right? Like, yes, this is a lot smaller than a 5-inch rig, but it's not that much smaller. It's not feet versus inches. It's like, you know, a 5-inch rig is going to be like basically like a foot big. And then this is going to be what, like 3 inches or 2.5 inches or whatever in width. So, okay, sure. Go out and shoot a gap outside that's 5 feet wide. Well, then by the measurements, to scale it, the gap would need to be 4 feet and 4 inches. I don't know math, but you know what I'm saying? But it's not. That we don't shoot gaps with these that are 4 feet and 4 inches. We shoot gaps that are just the 4 inches. And so flying tiny whoops in general is way, way, way more difficult. So you got to put the time in, and you got to be stubborn, and you got to be okay with crashing a lot. Celebrate the fact that when you crash these things, they don't explode. And, you know, repairs are cheap. They're simple. They're easy. You can build a couple of them for what it would cost you to build a 5-inch rig, right? So you have a second identical rig, hopefully even a third identical rig. You want to really get good, build 3 completely identical rigs. Every time you fly that first rig, just no holds barred. Fly that thing absolutely as hard as you possibly can, because you got 2 more that are completely identical to it. So that first rig, you rip it as hard as you possibly can, and that's when you learn the most. When you're not caring about your gear and you're just focused on flying, kind of like in the simulator, right? Where I know good and well, if you've ever flown the simulator, you've been like, wow, I'm a fucking badass in here, and then you go fly for real and you're like, ooh, what happened? Why am I so good in the sim, but I can't do shit in real life? Yeah, well, money ain't grow on trees, and you got a couple $100 in the air, for sure your brain's going to be like, well, hold on. This is also kind of why, in my opinion, a lot of the younger guys, right, a lot of the 15, 16, 17-year-olds get so good so quick. They don't have that like mechanical sympathy that us old fucks have. So yeah, and that just frees up more of their brain to like focus on flying rather than being focused on like, you know, I'm coming down the side. Oh, look, there's a little tiny gap there. I'm going 80 miles an hour. Let's just not hit that gap. It's not worth it. It was a little sloppy when I initiated the dive, and it's just not going to be a good, right? That doesn't cross the mind of a teenager. They're just send it. I said a thing that makes me cool now. Somebody just unsubscribes because they like to say send it, and I just made fun of it. Sorry. Send it is done. Too many people have said it. It's over. Moved on. No more saying send it. Twisted Carbon FPV says, I used your advice on adding expo to the throttle mid, and it worked great for my Mobula7. Enjoy, Twisted. Yeah, I did a whole live stream talking about, I mean, I didn't talk about the whole time, but yeah, there's a live stream from last week. Yes, last week. Really diving deep into throttle expo, what it's for, what it's not for, how to, like a very specific, very detailed step-by-step process to getting it set up properly, which is really, really important. People that like just tried throttle expo typically did not set it up properly, and that's why they, in a lot of cases, didn't like it. You have to get it set properly, and you have to think about the rig that you're putting it on. It's not just like a turn it on sort of thing. It's a consciously think about it, realize what you want to get from it, and then work and fly a bunch of batteries where you change the settings and try different settings and experiment with it in order to get it set properly. If you're willing to do that process, which is going to take you all of about 15 minutes, really, the most time is going to be spent watching me just yammer on and on about it. But that's kind of important because you need to understand it. If you're willing to do that, and if you're flying a rig that you don't change speeds super often with, you're going to love it. It's, you know, it's something in the... Look, we run expo on all of the other axes. Pitch, yaw, roll. Why wouldn't we also want to run... And not only that, but the throttle is the most difficult axis, is the most difficult thing. So why on earth would we not at least want to run a little bit of expo on the throttle, the most difficult thing to master? Sure, let's figure out how to run expo on it. I think that every single rig would benefits from at least a little bit, at least like 0.1 of expo, as long as you have that midpoint set properly. And so if you want to dive into that, there's a stream where we really got down and dirty on it. I show you it. I show you how to set it in the OSD. I explain it to death, and then I even fly around so you can see the difference that it makes. So, yeah, that was... I'm glad that we did that. And that was a viewer-suggested live stream. So, yeah, there's a link on CiottiFPV.com to my Discord. There's a text channel in Discord called Name the Stream. Yeah, it's called Name the Stream. If you put an idea for a live stream in there, I might do it someday. I've been going to that text channel much more often, and and just looking through the posts, and I've been getting really good ideas. Like, you guys, of course, have awesome ideas for stuff to do. Partly because it's hard, man. Like, 4 live streams a week every week, trying to think of like a fresh thing to work on or concept to talk about. Like, you know, I think we're 400 and some odd streams in. So yeah, it gets a little bit difficult. So thank you for all of you that have posted ideas in there. It's great. And yeah, you guys have great ideas. And you know, it's great to do a live stream that you got, right? Like, what do you guys want? Most of the times when I come up here and I say like, hey, what do you guys want to see? The majority of you say like, just do what you want to do because that's what we love. And like, that's awesome. And that's like incredibly flattering. But it is really nice to get feedback. And specifically, because I don't always think, I've been using Throttle Expo for years, and it's just no big deal to me. Like, it's just something that I put on. Like, I show it every time that I show you guys my rates. I don't really dive into it, but I show you, like, here, I use it. Here are my settings for this specific rig. Don't use my exact settings. You got to set them for yourself. But I just never thought to really dive into it and explain the philosophy behind it and why it works, what it works on, all that shit. So yeah, it's really cool to get those reminders from you guys of like, hey, I'm really having trouble with X. Any chance you want to dive into it? Because a lot of times that thing I take for granted, right? I've been doing this for over 7 years, and there are a whole bunch of things in Betaflight that I have thought to death. And like, in my head, it's just like, well, yeah, everybody uses that, don't they? Everybody has spent 14 hours over the past 7 years thinking about that and analyzing it and figuring it out, right? No? That's just me? Literally not one other person? There must have been one. Not even one. I'm the crazy one? Yeah, it sounds about right. Kevin James says, hello, CiottiFPV and all. If you came in late and you want to talk to me, type CiottiFPV in your comment and it'll light up an orange on my screen. CMYK says, what's up, gangly gang, and CiottiFPV. Grey Hat says, I think you'd be proud of me. A Pavo 20 with 03 weighs 93 grams dry. I put an HD0 Race VTX and camera in it, and it's 7... How the hell? How did you save 20 grams? Oh, right, the 03. The 03. You took the 03 out. Yeah, the 03 is incredibly fat. So I can put a naked GoPro 8 on it and have it GoPro at stock weight. Yeah, you know, it's that's funny. I mean, it's funny because like we're in this boom right now of like 03 in everything. And yeah, the 03 is never going to touch the GoPro in terms of quality. And the 03 is never really going to touch analog or HD0 or even Walksnail in certain aspects of being an FPV camera. You know, HD0 and analog have a massive latency advantage. Walksnail has a massive low light advantage. Analog and HD0 also have that low light advantage. So it's interesting, right? Like, just dropping an 03 into everything is not the answer. But there's just so much hype around it, and it's just like, oh god, everything must have an 03. But at the same time, like, how many motherfucking pairs of goggles do we need to buy? Jesus. So, like, if you've got a set of goggles that work with an 03, I don't blame you for putting 03s in everything. But, yeah. I digress. Bob Noxious says, what's up, brother? Abraham says, it's been a hot minute. Busy new job, but good to be here. Hope you're well. I am, dude. And congrats on the new job. That's mega. The Gal Pup says, shit was hilarious tonight. Yeah, Joshua's stream was great tonight. If you missed it, definitely check out at least the second half. I'm gonna after this, I'm gonna watch the first half. I'm super curious as to what I missed. A gigantic happy birthday to my lovely best friend in the whole wide world and partner in crime and life, Maggie. As a matter of fact, cheers to anybody that has alcohol in front of them. It was her birthday, and we had an awesome night. So, That's why I didn't get into Joshua's stream until late. We were cutting cake and doing presents and all that fun stuff. We went out to a amazing sushi place tonight. And yeah, we had a great time. So that was my day. Grey Hat says, with that GoPro 8 carrying Pavo 20, I can do indoor cinematic work. Technically, with the O3, you could still do indoor cinematic work, but with a GoPro 8, you're gonna get better. You're gonna get better image quality. 661 says FPV loves drama. Nah, brother, humans love drama. It's funny, at dinner tonight, I was explaining the situation to Maggie, and yeah, she actually said, like, human beings be loving some drama, bro. We're literally wired that way. For those that don't know, Maggie works in health science and has a much higher understanding of what actually goes on in human beings' brains than yeah, 99.9% of the population. So yeah, when she says that, it's when she says things related to yeah, the way brains work and whatnot, it has a special, it hits different, as the kids say. DeGal Pup says it was a Canon event. It was a Canon event. What was a Canon event? Joshua's live stream? Professor Biohazard says that's a CiottiFPV clip right there. Don't you dare. Grey Hat says, should we rename the Barbara Streisand effect to to the Justin effect? No more. No more. No more. Leave it. Leave it. Leave it. Leave it be. Leave it be. Leave it be. No more. No more. Oh my god, I'm so behind. Holy Christ. All right, we got to go fast through the chat. I'm going to go fast through like 2 or 3 comments, and then I'm going to talk a lot like I always do. Oh man, I just lost a whole bunch of the chat. Okay, well, oh god, somebody changed their name to Boner Camps RC. Stop. Stop, guys. Stop. Stop. Don't laugh at that. Don't laugh at that. Stop it. Stop. Stop. Stop it. Stop that. Stop it. No. No. I missed a bunch of chat. I apologize. Any chat prior to 10:14 p.m. is gone because YouTube just doesn't know how to make their chat work properly. It's unreal. They're the second biggest live streaming platform in the world, and they can't figure their fucking chat out. It's just outrageous. Boner Camps RC says, we could die any second. Okay, so tonight we're having a 75mm party. The subtext there is that 75mm rigs indoors are not the answer. It's 65 indoors. Bob Bruce says, I'm excited to see the bell swap. I need your address. Yeah. I need to get you my address. Sorry, Bob. It was this crazy day. I'll get caught up tomorrow. DeGal Pup says, I ordered from GetFPV back in December and 2 items were back ordered. They continued to lie to me and make excuses about when my products would come. Phone support doesn't work, and CS lies. I don't know what CS is, but I'm in a unique kind of scenario here where I talk to an awful lot of people. I've been in this hobby for over 7 years. I've done so many orders and talked to so many people about all the different resellers. GetFPV has consistently risen to the top as the company with the best customer service. But everybody has a shitty day. Every single one of you has had a terrible day at work, and you've fucked up or treated somebody poorly or whatever. And so it can happen to even the companies that are the best at something. Not to say that PyroDrone isn't also great, but yeah, I've just had a much better time in terms of customer support, and I've heard this from way more people than dealing with the other big resellers. So yeah, your experience, DeGal, is definitely outside of the norm. I'm sorry that you're having that experience. It really sucks, but you rolled, anytime we do anything, we're rolling the dice, right? And so, yeah, I don't know. I can't speak to it. I have not seen the email exchanges. I don't know what I can't speak to it. I have absolutely no idea what's going on. But yeah, I don't really know what to tell you. There's really nothing that I can do. But yeah, I've been dealing with and ordering from GetFPV forever. I've talked to so many people that also have, and they've all had great experiences. So I don't know what's going on, but that is definitely outside of the norm. I hate that you had that experience. Luckily, there are a bunch of other great shops that you can order from. I would not blame you for never ordering from GetFPV again. You've got NewBeeDrone, you've got PyroDrone, you've got RDQ, and yeah, they're all great shops as well. Zach with a $10 super chat. He says, first of all, thank you so much. Super generous. He says, how would you go about putting a RunCam camera on a NewBeeDrone board? Great question. Also, thoughts on replacing the Radio RX UFL antenna mount with a copper wire for simplicity's sake. To put any camera other than the NewBeeDrone BI onto a NewBeeDrone board, you're going to have to either cut one of their little specific camera connectors off of a BI camera, or they sell them. You can buy that little plug header on their website, and then you're going to have to solder it up. Don't do that, though, because the NewBeeDrone BI camera has, I think they did this on purpose, it has a little bit of extra contrast baked into it. And that little bit of extra contrast pairs incredibly well with their OSD setup that adds a little bit of a kind of milky layer with the OSD. I've run every single camera imaginable on a NewBeeDrone board to try to get a little bit of a better image quality out of it, and the BI is hands down the best. So don't do that. If you've got a broken BI camera, get a replacement one. They're fairly inexpensive, and it's a great camera. It's one of the best cameras for sure. So in my opinion, just replace the camera, and you're going to be way happier. Thoughts on replacing the Radio RX UFL antenna mount? I would not recommend that. I don't know why you would need such simplicity on your radio. I get simplicity on the quad, but simplicity on the radio, I don't necessarily understand. So I will always recommend on your radio that you go with a proper antenna. You could almost say the most expensive antenna you can afford, because your radio is going to be connecting to everything, all of your quads. So it's you spend money on a radio antenna and you really get your money's worth because it talks to all of your different rigs. Spending money on a fancy antenna for each individual rig, right? It's not going to get used nearly as much. So, yeah, I would recommend you not do any weird copper wire stuff for your radio antenna. Get a good one, get a proper one, and do it right on the transmitter radio side. Would be my main opinion there. DeGalpup says, where should I buy from? Where do you get your stuff from? In order of best to not quite as best, because none of these are bad. GetFPV, NewBeeDrone, PyroDrone, RDQ. That's the order that I go in. And that's just in order of how good their customer service has been, how good their... I value companies' ethics probably more than I should, and just, yeah, I'm going to leave it there. I'm not going to say that any of these companies are unethical. It's just that some of them I agree more with, where they're at as human beings on this planet, and that's all. you don't have to agree with that or factor that into your decisions, but I do. And I've had conversations with the people that run these stores before and gotten a feeling for them and heard from other people's interactions with them and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm in a situation where I have all of this information, and that is how I've personally chosen to kind of rank these places. But all 4 of those shops are great. They have amazing selection, great prices, and you can usually find stuff in stock. I don't typically go to any of the smaller stores because I typically can't find more than like 1 or 2 things in stock. Like those 4 main shops they sell so much stuff that I can almost always get like a half a dozen different things that I want or need in one order to save on shipping and time and effort and all that. So that's why I do it that way, which is a shame because it's funny. Like, I mean, they are all small stores. I don't buy on Amazon. I try to use these smaller shops. I do that in real life. Like, smaller businesses. I'm a big proponent of shopping at smaller businesses whenever you can, and whenever it's not a huge pain in the ass or is going to cost you a ton more money. I would love to shop at even smaller stores, but it's really hard. It's really, really hard. And it's hard for these shops to have enough shit in stock that one person can find a whole bunch of things that they need. So yeah, it's tough. But all of these places are very small businesses. So yeah, even though they're the bigger of the small businesses, I guess they're still small businesses. C Will says any AIOs worth the shit now. doesn't look like it since the HappyModel ones got axed. Had another BetaFPV ESC die on me today. Not even an hour of total flight time too. Pretty much all of the racers run the BetaFPV Cross AIO. I have a bunch of them that have been running, and I've actually not had any problems with them. BetaFPV stuff is notorious for not being the best stuff in the world. That's a pretty fair thing to say, right? So, yeah, there's the potential for problems with their stuff. I've had really good luck, and a lot of people have had really good luck, but their stuff is inexpensive, and with inexpensive comes less quality control. Why wouldn't it? So, yeah, at the moment, I think that is the best of the AIOs. In my opinion, what you want to do is see if you can find a Mobula7 elrs bind and fly in stock. These are still in stock somewhere. You're going to pay $100, but you're going to get an AIO that is better than any other AIO by a long margin that I've run on Tiny Whoops in the last literally 7+ years. It is well worth it to buy a Mobula7 elrs. You're going to get the best AIO ever. You're going to get one of the best canopies, arguably the best canopy, and arguably the best camera ever. Canopy, camera, AIO, that shit is worth $100 right there. So, the motors you can probably sell to someone that's maybe doing like underground whoop league, because they've got a spec 19,000 kV 0802 motor, so you can probably get like 20, 30, 40 bucks out of the motors. Now it's a really good deal. So that's going to be my recommendation right now. I have, hang on one second. Let me just make sure I don't put my foot in my mouth on this. In a few weeks, I will have really good HappyModel news. Relating to this conversation. Moving on. Demo FPV says, "What's up, everyone?" Joshua Bardwell, the $20 super chat. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much, brother. Joshua quoting me. The NewBeeDrone setup is not unflyable at all. Did I say that tonight? Did I say that tonight? That is a very me quote. It's true. It's absolutely true though. It is absolutely not unflyable. That is my brand of diplomacy right there. There is nothing wrong with the NewBeeDrone setups, but if you fly a NewBeeDrone AIO and then you fly any other AIO with a standard OSD chip, you're gonna notice it. And yes, analog looks like hell no matter what. So on one hand, it's like, well, if it looks like hell no matter what, let's just let it look like hell, and we can support NewBeeDrone, and they make great products, and they have great customer support, and they're an awesome company, and I love them, and they're just great. But on the other hand, if analog looks like ass, maybe let's try to make it not. Let's make it look a little bit less like ass. I don't know. I think it's different for everybody. There's also the plug issue with NewBeeDrone versus everybody else. Luckily, though, NewBeeDrone now has some really nice 0702 29,000 kV motors with bearings. Quad66 has done a bunch of flying and reviewing of those motors, and he really likes them. And when he really likes stuff like that, like, take notice, because he's a really good pilot. He's a very good analytical person that is able to understand what is really good and what is really not good. I've also flown those motors, and I was really impressed by them. Matter of fact, we're going to be doing a couple of NewBeeDrone builds coming up here this week, next week. I've got we're going to rebuild the Hummingbird V3, actually, and we're going to go all in and do a fully upgraded version. We're also going to put together I might combine these two. Yeah, there's going to be at least one 65mm NewBeeDrone rig built, and then we're going to build a NewBeeDrone toothpick with their 2.5-inch Mosquito XL, I believe it's called, frame, with the NewBeeDrone 1102s, kind of like a plug-and-play 1S toothpick. So that'll be really cool as well. Should I do I guess I should do the Hummingbird AIO here. No, maybe not. You know what I'll probably do? Yeah, that's what I'll definitely do. I'm going to pull this 70... So tonight will be the last time I fly this in its current setup. I will pull this Acro-B AIO out of this, and I'm going to use this Acro-B AIO for the Mosquito build, because the Acro-B AIO has higher amperage FETs, and this is going to be 1102, you know, big brawler power shit. And then I'll put a Hummingbird V3 into this. So this is truly a Hummingbird 75mm. Like, buy a Hummingbird V3, take it out of the 65mm frame, drop it into a 75mm frame, and you can have this. Realistically, that's what this already is. The Hummingbird, this is just a little bit heavier, so this will actually get even better than the way you see it tonight, because the Hummingbird AIO is lighter. So that'll be really cool. I'm excited about that. So yeah, 2 NewBeeDrone setups coming up. I was, doing 3, well, I don't know, 2 or 3 new NewBeeDrone builds coming up this week. That'll be fun. Botgrinder with a $10 super chat. Thank you so much, homie, with some love. I was lucky enough to meet Bot at Quad Camp Atlanta back when I lived in Charleston, actually. This is probably 5.5 years ago. And as soon as I found out he was from... At first I was like, Jesus, I'm a little intimidated by that guy. But then as soon as I found out he lived in Philly, I was like, oh, fuck yeah. So yeah, we've always kind of been able to bond over the Northeastern fuck around and find out attitude. And yeah, just such a great guy, man. Just such a cool person. What a fucking story too, man. Just like, talk about like a success story and like a fighter and just somebody that like... There have just been so many opportunities in his life where most people would have just been like, nope, I'm done. I'm out. It's over. And for somebody to just keep pushing through and just keep their head down and fight through that shit, like, yeah, like that's somebody that I want to be friends with, and you know that's just such an inspirational thing. Yeah, don't judge a book by its cover, friends. It's such a true saying, and there are people that really define that, and those people, yeah, they should be celebrated because it's a big deal. It's a really big deal, man. Life is fucking hard, yo. Life is really hard, and mental health issues make it exponentially harder. Not just mental health issues, but like, you know, just situational stuff and like, so yeah. Bot is an extraordinary human being, and I'm a lucky person to have been able to consider him a friend over the years and gotten hung out with him, and I think he crashed at my apartment when I was in Alpharetta at some point, maybe even in Charleston. Just yeah, just such a cool guy. He's a fucking hysterical guy too. I mean, just everything he does is just absolutely awesome. So cool. Mr. Blue Sky says it's incredibly hard to fly a whoop inside your home / indoors. The skill set is over the top for whoops, especially. Yeah, I suck. 6 batteries a day minimum. You don't suck, Mr. Blue Sky. You're better than 99 point something% of people on Earth, and that's pretty goddamn good. Don't compare yourself to, you know, the top 100 pilots on YouTube. That is insane. That is absolutely insane. For the love of God, don't do it. Look, there's always going to be somebody better, faster, stronger, whatever. You need to compare to where you were at a week ago or a month ago. And if you've been doing 6 a day minimum, you're fucking way better than you were a week or a month ago. And that's a big deal. That's where you need to compare yourself to. So instead of I suck, it's, you know, I'm getting better. Or, you know, if you don't hate yourself as much as many of us do, you can maybe actually say like, wow, I'm great. That's the reality of it. In defense of being hard on yourself, you know, being hard on yourself can be a hell of a motivator. It's a pretty toxic motivator. It's something that I've worked really hard on in therapy over the last year and a half. I mean, like, you know, I've been doing talk therapy for over 10 years, and it's been a thing that's popped up here and there, but I've never really focused on it as hard as I have recently. And like, yeah, it works for sure. Like, being hard on yourself works. Absolutely. I've gotten really good at stuff by saying, I suck. I need to get better. But it's hard. There's hell to pay for that. And it's toxic. It's very toxic to yourself. And like, yes, you understand why you're saying it. And you're like, no, I'm just making a joke. But you look in the mirror and say something thousands of times, like, it's going to set in a little bit, you know? So just careful with that, you know, and this is just me getting on a soapbox because I've had a hard time with that. And my brain has allowed that to really sink in. And even stuff that I'm really good at, I'm just like, nah, I'm garbage. It's like, no, like that's not a good message. So yeah, motivating yourself with kindness rather than horribleness is a much better way to be. It's tough though, right? Like that's not the culture of this country, right? This country's culture is like grind, work, get better. Like other cultures have it right. And yeah, it's tough. So careful with that. But Ugellin, oh my God, Ugellin, I haven't seen you in a while either, brother. What's up? He says, start the podcast now. We've got everyone here. What else we got? Degal Pup says it was a Canon event. I don't know what that means. You said that before. I don't know what it was a Canon event means. I'm old. I'm 42 years old, so I'm probably just missing something. Botgrinder says, funny how you're saying this, as the new video I put out for patrons is me talking about switching to micros over 5" these days. I think a lot of us feel the same. Yeah, man. I mean, if you're still here, DJ, like, you might remember from way back when at Quad Camp Atlanta, I got a bunch of people were like, dude, why do you have so many micros? Like, why don't you have all 5" rigs? And from then to now, I've absolutely always said, like, 3" rigs are safer, and I can fly them more often in more places. And, like, I've said that so many times over the years, and I had a big chunk of time where I went hard on 5" rigs because they do fly better, and there is a bigger adrenaline dump with them, and you can, for the longest time, there was shit that you could only do with them because they had the better power to weight ratio. But some of that stuff has changed. Some of that stuff is still there. 5" rigs, like, if you really, really, really want to get top tier in FPV freestyle, I think you're still going to have to spend a shitload of time with 5" rigs, just because there's a lot of reasons. But you can get really good now with, I mean, 3" rigs have really almost closed the gap completely. Tiny whoops are not nearly as close, but way better than they've ever been. And I'm pretty sure that if you picked up FPV and you flew, let's say, 10,000 tiny whoop batteries over the course of whatever, doesn't matter. Time period actually doesn't matter. Batteries flown is realistically what matters. If you thoughtfully flew 10,000 tiny whoop batteries, I think you would be really close to as good as a pilot who'd flown 10,000 5" batteries. This camera is really starting to fuck up. So yeah, that's pretty cool. That is that's a big deal, because you can fly those tiny whoop batteries inside where it's warm and it's not raining, and you can just hang out with your family. Rain Squad FPV says, what micro would you suggest for someone coming from 5". There is no one size fits all. So this is not me shilling, for the record. This is just me using an example. All right, Rain? Because I've never seen your name before, so you might be brand new. One of the things that I do, one of the links over on my website is to Fiverr. And on Fiverr, I offer flight simulation, flight instruction through simulators, build planning, and tuning. Within the build planning that I do, I've got a list of like 20 some odd questions that I ask you. Where do you fly? Who's your favorite pilot? What are you doing with the footage? How long have you been flying? Bang, 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 bang. I need the answers to all of those questions in order to answer this question. This is a great question, but there just is not a one-size-fits-all answer to it. So just as an example, I realistically need all of that information from you to make a proper suggestion for you. I could certainly take the tact of many YouTubers, sorry, and just say, oh, the fucking Nazgul version 5 that just came out a week ago is the best thing for you. Affiliate link down below. But that's not the answer. Like, not to mention that, like, even if I were to say to you, like, oh, you know, this ultimate freestyle tiny whoop that is my favorite tiny whoop at the moment, this is the right thing for you. Like, that's wrong. You're different than me. You're a different person than I am. So, like, this is my favorite, but that doesn't mean shit. That I might be the only one on earth that this is the absolute best rig for. And like, it does matter. Like, the specific build that you're flying really does matter. And so the answer to your question, here's the best I can do. Look at where you want to fly and where you can fly. See, even this falls down. If if you're looking to get better as a pilot, no, I don't really have to say that. All right, look at where you want to fly and realistically where you can fly, right? In wherever you live, in whatever your area is, okay? Look at the size of those spots. It's probably not just one place. It's probably a couple of different spots, all right? Look at how big those spots are. Think about how likely strangers are to walk out into those spots. Think about all this shit, right? Like, think about, is there a chance of the noise that a rig is going to make getting you in trouble, getting you caught, or whatever? That, in my opinion, has the most to do with what rig you're going to build. If you've got a massive field where nobody's ever going to walk out into it, it's totally safe, the neighbors are never going to bitch about a 5-inch screaming around in there, 5-inch rig all day. Every single day. No questions asked. And then shrink that down, right? If you've got like a really cool spot by you, but it's really small and it's super sketchy because people are always walking around, welcome to Tiny Whoops, my friend. You're not going to hurt anybody. They're infinitely quiet, right? They're small, they're slow, so they're going to take advantage of that smaller location. And then everything in between. If you've got a spot that's somewhere in between, but it's still safe, 250 gram, maybe 300 gram, 3-inch, 3.5-inch, that's a good option, right? Be aware that like anything over 250 grams, if you hit somebody in the face, it's not going to be a good day for anybody. You're probably going to get, it's going to be bad, right? So like keep that in mind. At the absolute least, keep it under 250 grams, but still like realistically, you want to be like toothpick tiny whoop kind of territory. You also, I guess you also need to look at though, like what do you want to fly, right? Like you've been flying 5-inch, they have a shitload of off throttle throw. You're not going to get anywhere near, the smaller you go, the less of that you're going to get, right? So you got to factor that in. There's a ton of things to factor in, but the spots that you're going to be able to fly, in my opinion, are the biggest decider of what you build. You know, right tool for the job, right? And the locations that you're going to fly, they're the job. So you want to build the thing that's going to be the best tool for that job. That's the best that I can do in like a totally, you know, like I have no info from you, right? That's the best I can do with no info from you. If you want to dive deep into this and have me suggest a specific frame, a specific propeller, a specific motor, a specific battery, flight controller, video system, top to bottom, message me. We'll set you up with a half an hour, hour-long session, and we'll dive into that. But, yeah. Mr. Blue Sky with a $10 super chat and a retracted message. I wish I could see the retracted message. I might be able to. Oh, I can't! God damn it. If it was a regular message, I'd be able to see it. I have a feeling it was a message related to the drama. Thank you, Mr. Blue Sky. Very kind of you. Thanks again, Bot. Thanks again, Joshua. Super generous of you all. JP Spin FPV says, I have a Foxeer Tramp VTX that gives huge horizontal lines when the power is ramped up. Any idea what's going on here? I think you're a Patreon, JP Spin. Go to my Patreon and click Tech Talk up on the top and scroll down. I have a really good Patreon post about analog video noise with a step-by-step, like most common, second most common, third most common. Work your way through that. If you're not a patron, put a capacitor on it. If it doesn't already have one, put a capacitor on the ESC battery leads. See if that helps. That's the easiest, simplest thing that you can do. An extra capacitor or a capacitor is going to potentially help everything. So it's just such a great place to start with video noise. It's probably not going to help. It might, but it's probably not going to help. The thing that helps the most, well, as we always say, when did it start? The number one thing when you start to troubleshoot is to think back in time to when the hell did this behavior start? Was it when you blasted it into a metal pole at 150,000 miles an hour? There's your problem. What did you break when that happened? Did you bash a motor? Did you bash an ESC? Like, right? So think back to when the problem started, and like 9 times out of 10, it'll be like, oh, done. That's I smashed this. I broke this. I changed this. That is the best way to start your troubleshoot. So do that first. Then maybe could have put a capacitor on it. Then, in terms of video noise on analog systems, the most effective method at preventing it is to have all of your grounds connect to the same pad. So pick a pad. My least favorite pad, but a lot of times the easiest one to hook all of your grounds up to, is the battery pad on the ESC. But and then ideally you want to be as far, so the battery is the noisiest. So the farthest away that you can get from those battery pads, the less, the more things are going to be filtering the electricity, basically. So just look at your ESC, look at the battery pads, and just trace the electricity. It goes through the ESC, then it comes out the plug header from the ESC to the flight controller, then it comes into the flight controller. There's a bunch of ground pads on the flight controller. Those are pretty much the farthest away possible. So grab one of those ground pads. A lot of times you're going to be powering your VTX off of the flight controller, so you'll have that power pad right next to a ground. Take your camera ground, take your VTX ground, put them both on that same pad. That right there is going to do the most for getting you super clean analog video, and it could potentially fix this problem. So there's 3 things for you to do, and a tech article on my Patreon that has even more stuff. But yeah, that'll get you started. Grey Hat says the hardest thing is that gravity doesn't scale to the size. That's why dives are so impossible. Yeah, it's very true. We run into that with when dropping elevation in tiny whoops versus everything else. A little bit more to it than that, right? Tiny whoops have the ducts, which make them way less aerodynamic. But Grey Hat also says, how much expo for cinematic? There's not a specific number. It depends on everything that I talked about in the in that expo video. That has the full explanation of which rigs should run a lot, which rigs should run a little. Also, just try it. Take the cinematic rig and try different amounts of expo. Try to fly it in scenarios that are going to be as close as possible to the work that you're going to be doing. And then, it's there is a fair amount of personal preference in the amount of expo that you run. So dive into it, my friend. Aeon says, do you have Uncashed? I do not. I'm on a Mac. And have you seen the new beta update? If not, would you like a sneak peek? It's worth it. I don't know if I have, but I don't necessarily know if I want to see it because I can't play it and it'll just make me jealous. So, but thanks for the offer. I appreciate it. But yeah, us Mac guys don't get access to many games, which is fine because the last thing I need is more games in my life. I have a hard enough time with having Gran Turismo 7 and DayZ in my life. They good God, all I want to do is play those goddamn games. David 4F says, did you get the new Mobula 6 yet? I did not, but I had an amazing conversation with HappyModel yesterday, and I got them my address, which they weren't waiting for. They were on Chinese New Year. But yeah, now they have my address. I forgot to... They didn't ask for my address, so I didn't give it to them. But I wish I had thought when, like, a month and a half ago before Chinese New Year, they messaged me and said, hey, would you like to review it? And I said, yeah, absolutely. And they said, all right, well, we got Chinese New Year happening like right now. I'll get back to you when we're back in the office. I was like, oh, great. I wish I had replied with, oh, great, here's my address, so that there's no delay. Maybe I would have gotten it when everybody else got it. I'll, as usual, I'll be the last one getting a new thing. Although usually I don't get the new things, but yeah. Where are we at here? Am I caught up on? No. Grey Hat says, I'm not... Oh, farts. YouTube did the thing, scrolling back up, trying to find my place. P. Richard Scott's in the chat. What's up, homie? P. Richard Scott. This motherfucker did not buy a house. He bought a compound. He bought a house with like 14 garages. It's got a welcome center. I can't fucking wait to go and rip that shit. So yeah, he's been super busy. But I cannot wait to check this new. I gotta come up with a really good name for it. You could start a fairly powerful cult on his property. I hate the word property. It's incredibly impressive, and I cannot wait to hang out there. Not just because he's got a giant garage that I think he's going to put a lift in. I swear, it's not just because of that. Grey Hat says, I'm not handing O3 footage to paying clients. Yeah, I agree with that 100%. You absolutely could, though. For sure you could. There are like the amount of jobs that smaller jobs that are available here in Atlanta has completely disappeared because of the Avata, which uses the O3. So there are tons and tons and tons of people making a lot of money with O3 systems. eForms Excel Electric Gang says, what can I do to get more flight time on my Hummingbird V3? To get more flight time, it has nothing to do with the Hummingbird, just to get more flight time, less all-up weight, less blades on your propellers, smaller motors is a part of less all-up weight, right? Like, there's all kinds of ways that you can reduce your all-up weight. Fly softer, right? Use less throttle. Higher mAh batteries, but I'm sure you already knew that. Look at inefficiencies in the airflow, specifically like above and below the propellers. If you can remove obstructions from above and below the propellers, that's going to help a ton. So like we see that with the carbon fiber tiny whoop frames. They're, just by their nature, they have carbon fiber below the motor, in addition to the same obstructions that we get on our frames, right? Because they have the ducts bolted to them. And that causes a real loss in efficiency and power. I can't think of anything else. The biggest thing is all up weight, right? Think of it this way. The quad has to carry its all up weight the whole time, right? Like going to a more efficient motor, they're usually only more efficient at full throttle. And like how much time per battery do you spend at full throttle? Total. 2 seconds total, right? Because you go, whoop, that's like a quarter of a second. And then, 10 seconds later, you go, whoop, that's another quarter of a second. So yeah, lowering the amount of all up weight is huge. And then buy blades instead of tri blades or trides instead of quads. That's a big deal as well. Those two things are the way. Those two things are the way. But the other stuff is it makes a difference too. Raging Leet says, my drone got cramps and is bitching. What do I do? Be really nice to it for a couple of days and then and forgive it for anything that it says or does. And it's all good. And just understand that you will never understand, you will never remotely be able to understand the hell that it is to have cramps every single month. How about that? Mr. Blue Sky says, not all humans love drama. Some of us avoid it at all costs. Yeah, you consciously avoid it, but deep down inside, you fucking love it. Aeon says, same one. Boner camps. Stop. Change that name. Change that name. Go change that name right now. Apparently, GetFPV and RDQ got purchased by the same private equity firm. I didn't know that. I thought it was. I thought I missed GetFPV being purchased by apparently a private equity firm. I did see that that Tyler from RDQ stepped back, whatever the hell you want to say, and yeah, sold, I guess, the company. Yeah, I don't know. Doesn't really affect me in any way. It might in the future, but right now it doesn't. Nothing I can do about it. Kilo Zebra says, do you have a good source for the circlips, eclipse on the HappyModel 0702 motors? Fucking great question. I'd like to get a bunch rather than just a couple at a time from Tiny Whoop. I've been rebuilding motors a lot lately. You already know where to get them, my friend, Tiny Whoop. Yeah, I mean, I have tons of them because I've been Tiny Whooping forever, and I've broken a lot of motors, and I save them every single time I break a motor, so I have tons. Yeah, no, Tiny Whoop is the only place that sells them that I've ever seen. Although, you could probably get a micrometer and measure them out and find a seller on eBay that'll hawk a bag of 1,000 of them for $5. You might even be able to message Tiny Whoop. TinyWhoop.com is run by Jesse Perkins, who is one of the coolest dudes I've ever met. And I'm not going to promise this, but I would bet that if you messaged him pretty much exactly what you just said to me, that he would send you the specs on them so that you could get yourself a whole ton of them. Or he might say, like, how many do you need, brother? I'll hook you up. And he'll sell you 50 or 100 or however many you want. I would actually just do that. I would actually just shoot tinywhoop.com an email and say, hey, I love that you sell these, but I need a ton of them. Can you give me the specs so that I can order them myself? Or can you hook me up with a ton of them? Look, Jesse is not looking to make money selling those things. He sells those. He has those on his website to help people out. I'm willing to bet that he's not making any money on them. So yeah, I would just message Jesse and just be like, hey brother, I need 80 of these or whatever. Hit him with a realistic number, and yeah, he probably had to buy a ton of them, so he's probably got a big bin of them. You know, he can't sell them on his website for 50 cents because when somebody did an order for just 50 cents of them, he would take a bath. So yeah, his like $1 or $2 or whatever he sells them for is covering his handling costs and whatnot. C. Will says, I honestly have had a great experience with RDQ and not great experience with GetFPV, which is the opposite of you. I really think it's all about who you get that day and how they are. 100%. You know, just like every single place that you've ever shopped, right? Like, you go to fucking McDonald's one day and the person is awesome. You go to McDonald's a week later, don't go to McDonald's more than once a week, and they're a total shitbag because their fucking dog died that morning. You know, like, we gotta be really careful, man. Like, life is hard, yo. Life is fucked, and it's really hard, and like, look, I'm not great at it either. You know, somebody treats me like, somebody that doesn't know me, that I don't know, treats me like shit. I'm like, fuck you forever, and this company that you work for. Like, we gotta be better about that, man. Like, it's not, you know, somebody having a horrible day. Look, you've had a horrible day, and I guarantee you that you've treated someone like shit without even realizing it. Because when you're having a terrible day, you're stuck inside your head. It's a very human thing. So yeah, we got to be really careful with that. Myself included. You know, I would love to be way better about it. But look, like, realizing it is the first step. So this is you realizing it. That's the first step. And now that it's in your brain, it'll hopefully make it easier to forgive and forget. And, you know, why, like, life's too short. We should not be thinking about, we should not be spending much of our lives thinking about this shit. None of these companies chronically, like, abuse people. You know what I mean? Like, so we're very lucky. I don't know. Life's hard, bro. None of us have any idea the struggle that anyone other than, like, close friends and close family are going through. And by default, we need to just forgive. And like, yeah, it sucks, and it sucks being treated like shit, and they don't know how hard you have it either. But like, the next time somebody cuts you off in traffic, like, maybe there's a dying child in that car, and if they don't get to the hospital right now, they will lose their child. You know what I mean? Like it's just there's just crazy shit be happening, bro. So it's and you know, some of when I meet somebody that I'm like truly in awe of, and is like I'm just like, man, I want to be more like that person. Almost always those people like very quickly forgive. It's just such a strong character trait, because it's hard. it's hard. So yeah, try to be that person. Try to be that super forgiving, super caring person. And then the side effect is going to be that you're not thinking about the bullshit much. You can just move the fuck on and think about something and surround yourself with something that's not fucking fucker, God, the fucking fucker, fucking cut me off, you fucking fucking kill you, I'm gonna shotgun you to death, you son of a, like, that's not like, that's not good. That's not gonna end well for anybody. You just took like a year off your life with that much anger. Just, you know, they cut you off. That sucks. They didn't hit you. That's all right. You've cut somebody off, guaranteed. You didn't even know that you did it. So, P. Richard Scott says CiottiFPV still repping Rotorius. I've got a Rotorius 5-inch frame that never actually made it into production here, which is pretty cool. Professor Biohazard says, ever had 5-inch props bend at low RPMs? The Gemfan 5147-7s are flopping around on me off throttle. My first question has to be, how do you know that? How do you know that they're flopping around? The only possible way I could think that you know that is if you took high-speed video of them. And then what you want to be careful of is rolling shutter. Rolling shutter will make things look like they're doing things that they're actually not. You need global shutter, which you're not going to really have unless you spend $1 billion on the new Sony A9 or whatever the hell it is. So, yeah. I've also never heard of a propeller bending at low RPMs. And also, the Gemfan 5147-7 is a very stiff, very stout racing propeller. So, like, that is a propeller that I can't imagine bending at low RPMs. I have a feeling that it's a different problem. So, my guess is going to be that what you're actually experiencing is the PID loop freaking out and accelerating and braking, accelerating and braking, accelerating and braking. So pull your PIDs down, try that, see if the behavior goes away. Add filtering, try that. Alternatively, you can do both. You can do just one or the other. Yeah. Yeah. I'm curious. Tag me again and let me know how you have figured out that they're bending it at low RPM. Yeah. Kevin Sumner says, I forget where I heard it, but Tyler is stepping back from RDQ, and I think it's gotten bought by GetFPV's parent company. Yep, we just talked about that. Frank Nicholas says, shops/shopping, check Defiance RC. Defiance RC I've ordered from a bunch of times. They're a great shop. Over on my Discord, there is a text channel open to everyone. It's not a Patreon-only channel. It's called... I lied. It's a Patreon-only channel. Sorry. You're going to have to give me 7.5 cents per hour of live streaming content to get access to this. But it's a Patreon-only channel called All FPV Retailers. And it is just this massive list from all of the beautiful people that hang out here of just all of them. Just every single FPV retailer. I go in there every once in a while when I can't find something and just start opening tabs with all these different websites that this super cool community that we've built here have dumped in there. So that's another good way. If you're looking for something, if you're look, what every single one of you should be doing right now. Maybe. Like I said, I did get some good news from HappyModel, but I still kind of think that you should all be on there right now, clicking through all of those retailers to try to find a Mobula 6 ELRS in stock. If anybody is 100% hell-bent on doing this and they go through all of those retailers and confirm that none of them are in stock, feel free to put a comment in all FPV retailers, just a little quick comment that says all of the above retailers are out of stock on the Mobula 6 ELRS, because that would be nice to know. Mr. Blue Sky says, so on the FPV Know-It-All site, the Mobula 7 is listed. What are your current recommendations, recommended upgrade for motors, frame, etc.? It's on there. There is a full 75 millimeter. It's the Jungle Gym Basher build. There's a full upgrade list on there with, I put comments. I spent hours and hours and hours and hours and hours writing blurbs for each individual upgrade part, and then a big chunk of text on the top explaining what it's good for, why I chose the parts, blah, 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 blah. Great info there. You'll learn a ton. You just got to scroll down a little bit farther. In the bind and fly section, we do have the Mobula 7, but then if you scroll down or up on the top, it actually says like Mobula 7 build, click here, and then it zips you to the bottom. It's all there. That being said, it's pretty simple. Mobula 7 ELRS 1S, switch the motors over to 0802, 27,000, 30,000, realistically 27,000 are my favorites, or the Flywoo 1002 23,500s, Gemfan Biblades BT 2.0. That's it. That's the full build. Gray Hat says, sad to find them from their awesome tutorials and then immediately see them going out of business, but the discount is amazing. Who are we talking about? I'm not sure who we're talking about here. Gray Hat also says, I bought a Meteor 65 Pro. Should I put the Snowblowers on it? No, you should take it out of that frame and you should put it into a 75 millimeter frame. That's really what you want to do. The motors, whatever motors you currently have on it, are probably enough. Also, like Snowblowers versus the iGal motors, you might as well get the iGal motors so that you have the little bit of extra kV. If you don't want the extra kV, just motor limit it down. It really doesn't make much sense to get slightly lower kV motors anymore. There's not going to be, it's just going to kind of limit you. Aaron Muller says, are the Mobula 6 ELRS going to come back in stock, or are they going to stop them because the 2024 ones are coming out? Hang on. I will say I'm pretty sure that the current Mobula 6 ELRS is not going to be made anymore. But again, good news soon about Mobula 6s. P. Richard Scott says, Defiance RC getting good marks in chat. That's pretty cool. Yeah, I've had a great experience from them. Danzilla calls out Rotor Village and Rotor Geeks. Yep, I've had good luck with them as well. There's all kinds of really good shops. It's just when I order from these smaller shops, it's when they have a specific product that none of the bigger ones have. And then what I'll usually do is I'll go through, like I've been through Defiance RC's entire website. Same with Rotor Village, same with Rotor Geeks. I will literally go through the entire goddamn website to try to find a couple more things to get. And sometimes I'll be able to, but a lot of times I won't. And it's like, shit, man, I'm about to pay $15 in shipping for a battery or 2 batteries or whatever. And like, that's just... I'm a cheap motherfucker, my friends. So for me, that's like brutal. June Loco says, have you considered buying a 3D printer? I have. And through talking to many people, I realized pretty quickly that owning a 3D printer would turn into another hobby for me, and I do not have time for another hobby. You guys always offer to print me stuff, and, you know, like, I don't ever ask for tons of stuff. I'll ask for like a couple little things, and I always have hoped and just assumed that, like, that's not a big deal, and it feels really good to help other people, and I pay for shipping. I always offer to pay for shipping. So it's like, hey, and you get to use your 3D printer, which you haven't used in a couple of weeks, because how much stuff can you possibly print just for yourself? So I've always thought that it's, you know what I mean? So yeah, it would be cool to have one, but I'm sure I wouldn't use it very much. And I'm also sure that I would get completely obsessed and spend way too much time obsessing over upgrading, right? That whole thing. And look, like, doing your own, trying to survive in America in 2024 while being an FPV live streamer / pilot is pretty tough, and you gotta focus and manage your time very wisely. So I'm very careful about picking up other hobbies. Like, it's bad enough that Gran Turismo 7 and DayZ eat my fucking brain and are just like, come to me, you can spend all your time with me, please. Like, I just can't have something else doing that. Mr. Blue Sky says, so much better. Thank you, brother. Off Axis says, a canon event is something that shapes a person and defines who they are. Oh. How the fuck did I not know that? Really? What is a canon event? Oh, it's a TikTok thing. Of course I don't fucking know what it is. Explain like I'm Hey! Here's somebody on Reddit saying, explain it like I'm 5. What is a canon event? In r/Spider-Man. Interesting. Yeah, I've never heard of a canon event before. That's cool. I guess it makes sense. It also makes sense in filmmaking, because we talk about, like, the canon of the series or whatever, and then so you can have, like, the canon. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. I get it. I'm gonna forget that. Fork-tailed Devil says, I just right now finally flew inside my tiny-ass living room that I've been telling myself was impossible. Thanks for the motivation. You're certainly welcome, my friend. Stick around. I haven't seen your name before. Maybe you've been lurking. Maybe you're new. If you're new, stick around. I've got so many goddamn tips and tricks and build advice to make flying inside even more realistic, even more fun. Easier, yeah, sure, but more realistic is a better way to put that, because it's not easy at all. Easy is not the word to describe flying inside. Even a little bit. There's nothing easy about it, but you can do things that make it much more realistic. Mainly cutting down the all-up weight. That is the biggest thing that will make flying inside more realistic and more enjoyable. And yeah. Grey Hat says, I meant how much do you run for cinematic? In reference to Expo, Throttle Expo specifically. It's different on every different rig. It's different at every different gig. If I go to a gig where I'm going to be flying cinematic at 30 to 40 miles an hour, I'm going to run less Expo because I'm going to have a wider variation of speed that I need to carry. Or if not, if I'm going to be going 30 to 40 miles an hour the whole time, I can just push my midpoint up. But usually what I'll do is just take Throttle Expo out, because when you increase your pitch angle, less thrust is going downwards. So in terms of your elevation, you have sort of automatically added more throttle sensitivity, because when you got this thing stood up like this and you're going really fast for a Cinewhoop, if you go full throttle, you're only barely going to increase in altitude. So at full throttle, it's going to barely increase, and then as you come down, it's going to actually start to fall at some point and lose altitude. But just by flying a rig faster, just by adding more pitch angle, less thrust is going downwards, and that is going to artificially make the throttle, it's going to almost like artificially add throttle expo. Not really, but it's going to feel like it. You're going to have better throttle control. So a lot of times what I'll do is, like I said, just take the throttle expo out completely. It's just the easiest thing to do, because if you get your midpoint wrong, it's going to make the situation worse. And a lot of times, like, you know, you just don't have time to sit there and fly a bunch of batteries to get the throttle midpoint dialed. And then on rigs where you're going slower, or like flying right in the face of the actor or singer or whoever it may be, you're going very slow. That's going to require more throttle expo. So it really varies quite a bit. The general round numbers that I use are for the Cinesplores about 0.4. And then for the cinematic 5-inch rigs, 0.2, freestyle 5-inch rigs, 0.1, tiny whoops, 0.4 to 0.5, depending on the things that I was just mentioning. The live stream chase rigs that I chase the cyclists with, they're actually all the way down at 0.2. The cyclists, they cruise at roughly the same speed, but there's a giant variation in speed between when they break out and when they're towards the end of the race. Although that kind of changes depending on the race format. So again, there's a lot of variability. Sometimes they'll be going 15 miles an hour. Sometimes they'll be going 40. And so that is way too wide of a range to have a really aggressive throttle expo curve. So yeah, it's all about how much variability is there going to be in the speed that I need to carry. That is the big thing for deciding how much throttle expo you run on any specific rig on any specific day. JW says, do you think the new Mobula 6 2024 AIO would fit in the Meteor Pro frames? It certainly looks like it will. I feel like they shaped it and sized it the way that they did so that it will fit in the Meteor Pro frames. Here's the thing though, JW. The Meteor Pro frames are kind of tough. The Meteor 65 Pro frame, I can't find anything that it does better. It's certainly not better indoors because it's bigger and it's heavier and there's less response time because the props are heavier. It's not better outdoors because 75 millimeter makes more power and is more efficient and there's better prop selections. So the Meteor 65 Pro to me just doesn't, I don't know, I just don't think you're gonna have a good experience with it. The Meteor 75 Pro is a little bit more realistic, but I still just kind of don't get it. Because it becomes so heavy that, like, it's not really, I don't know, it's just too heavy. Like, you got to run a bigger motor, and then you've got this tiny whoop that's, like, just fat as hell. 75 to me is, like, 65 and 75 are really the sweet spots. You can also look at the fact that, like, nobody else has done the slightly bigger setup, right? If it really was better, I'm sure HappyModel would jump on board, right? So, yeah. Hopefully you don't hate me now, because hopefully you didn't just buy 18 Meteor Pro frames. But yeah, the answer to your question is I think so. It certainly looks like it would fit. My guess would be that it would fit. But I challenge you to reevaluate your decision to do the Meteor Pro frames, because I can't figure out what they're for. Mars asks, where do I get bi-blades in 35 millimeters? You don't. That's one of the biggest problems with the Meteor 65 Pro frame, is a complete ass lack of propeller selection. Grey Hat says, since you sorry about that. Grey Hat says, since you cleared Volaris out of Mobula 6 stock, you should give them a shout. They make helpful content. I found them as they were going out of business. Sad but good deals. I didn't know that they make helpful content. Yeah, Grey Hat is referring to, might have been him actually that sent me a message and said, yo, Volaris has the Mobula 6 in stock. I bought their last 3 Mobula 6 ELRSs I wasn't that selfish, though. One of these is going to be a build that I sell to you beautiful bastards. 2 of them will probably be builds that I sell to you folks. One of them I am absolutely keeping for myself because I just have this funny feeling that... Oh, God. I have this funny feeling that the current Mobula 6 ELRS AIO is going to be the best Tiny Whoop AIO of all time. I hope I'm wrong. I really do. But yeah, I have a weird feeling about this, so I snagged a few of them. Sorry, friends. They only had 3. 2 of them are probably going to make it back out to you guys. And look, if I just bought 1, you wouldn't be pissed. You're pissed because I bought all 3. You guys are going to get access to 2 of them, so shut up! Leave me alone. Denzel the Terrible says, what was that crazy store with all the old stuff we were looking at a few weeks back? Somebody in chat will remember. I do not remember. That was fun, though. Professor Biohazard says, drama is great when it's not when it's not happening to me. Yeah, for sure. Grey Hat says, you sold me the Snowblowers. There's nothing wrong with them, but like if you're buying a brand new set of motors and the iGows are in stock and the Snowblowers are in stock, you might as well get the iGows. There's nothing wrong with the Snowblowers, though. 25,000 kV 0802s are fucking fantastic on a 75mm build. So, and they're cool looking because they're white. Drone Zen says, and for the record, why do you think I sold them, Grey Hat? Look, whenever this is advice that my dad gave me forever ago that I've never forgotten. In reference to buying used cars, and he basically just said that, like, they're selling it for a reason. They're not selling it because they absolutely love it and it's the greatest thing on earth. Maybe they just need the money, right? But everybody is always selling something for a reason. Dronesen says, what are your thoughts on the Mobula 6 2024? I've talked about this a bunch. I can't, it's on the way, so I can't specifically talk about it, but long story short, I absolutely hate that the motors are direct soldered. I kind of hate that the camera is direct soldered too, although that's less of a pain in the ass. Personally, I do tons of testing, so for me, that is a big deal. It is a huge pain in the ass that those 2 things are not on plugs anymore. And it really does not save much weight to remove those plugs. So I really don't like that. I'm not a fan of the new camera mount setup. I don't think that it's going to be nearly as durable as their current canopy, which is just brilliant. Maybe the new camera is good. I don't know. I really wish that they'd put an A30 connector on it. I don't understand why they did a PH 2.0. I guess maybe you could argue that most of the batteries still out there are PH 2.0. I wish they'd put higher kV motors on it, but I'm actually thrilled that they put as high kV motors as they did on it. I wish they'd put 30 or 32,000 kV motors on there and just snuck a motor limit in. Other than that, it looks pretty damn good. I can't wait to get it. Morton Upshot says, would your kids want to use a 3D printer? Maybe it can be their hobby and you benefit. I've talked to them both about it, and neither one of them have had any interest whatsoever. So yeah, there's that. I was really hoping that Sage would, and I actually kind of thought that it might be a way for me to kind of finally bond with him. But yeah, he had no interest in it. So it is what it is, man. They're allowed to have their own lives. They're allowed to have their own likes and dislikes. It's all good. JW says, do you thin? I do thin. Look at me. Look how thin I am. I'm very thin. Look at this. Look at this thin man. Have you ever seen a man this thin? Come on. Look at how thin. Look at how thin I am. If I do this, I almost disappear. I do thin, my friend. I do thin. Gray hats, I can see that. No. I was going to say, I can see he commented again. That's probably the rest of his thing that he was trying to say. But I don't know. Gray Hat says, I call buying one of those I call buying one of those builds since I told you about it on the site, LOL. I'm probably going. I've done a couple live streams where I have live auctioned. I've built and then live auctioned Tiny Whoops, and it's been a ton of fun. Like those streams, everybody had a lot of fun on those streams, so that'll probably be what I do. So no calling them. Sorry, brother. JW says no hate. I just enjoyed my Hummingbird V3 in the 65 Pro for the yard before I killed it, having bad luck with the NewBeeDrone AIOs. Yeah, my Hummingbird V3 died in a crash that I don't think that it should have died in. And I've heard from a couple of people that they've had similar Hummingbird V3 failures in crashes that weren't super, super, super hard. So yeah, that I don't love that. The flip side of that is that I've got impossibly high standards, right? Like this Mobula7 elrs AIO has completely ruined me. And like, I now think that all of these AIOs should just last forever. And I crash all the time really hard. So I absolutely, and look, like they're like, you know, the question earlier, like, are there any good Tiny Whoop AIOs? No, like they're, you know, there just aren't. It's obviously incredibly difficult to make a durable Tiny Whoop AIO. So yeah, I don't know. I wish that more companies could figure out how to make them durable, but with how infrequent that is, it's kind of like, well, this is it. You know, this is what we got. Like the common story of FPV is just like, well, this is what we got. Let's try to find the least shitty one in a lot of cases. So yeah, I don't know. I do not typically, like, if somebody asks me for like Tiny Whoop AIO recommendations, the Hummingbird V3 is not at the top of my list, mainly because of this. But as the good options go away, it gets higher on the list. So yeah, I don't know. It's obviously really difficult. My Stream Deck just died. Why you die, Stream Deck? Why die? Oh no, it's still working. Okay. Hummingbird V3 and the 65 Pro. Oh, that's a cool. I actually did that. I did that same thing. I took a Hummingbird V3 and I put it into the 65 Pro frame. If there were bi-blades, if there were 35 millimeter bi-blades, I think the 65 Pro would be way more realistic, and it would, yeah. But there aren't. And the whole cutting two blades off the quad blades thing is just jank as fuck, and they're never properly balanced, and that causes its own set of problems. So, but if you're going to stick with that frame, I would recommend you doing that. I would recommend you buying some 4 blades and as carefully as possible cutting 2 of the blades off, and hoping that they're well balanced, because a set of bi-blades on that 65 Pro frame is going to really bring it to life. Kevin Sumner says, Denzel the Terrible Speedy FPV. I bought some stuff from them a couple weeks ago, actually. I feel like that was a previous conversation that I'm not privy to. Grey Hat says, I've only been in FPV for 2 months. I don't mind getting motors one step behind the bleeding edge you're on. LOL. Yeah, man, an 802 25,000 kV motor is a lot on a 1.6 inch bi-blade for somebody that hasn't been flying a while. So yeah, there's nothing wrong with those motors. 661 FV, and look, you can't get them or the iGal motors. So the fact that you got those motors now when they're sold out, like, most people would, yeah, kill for them in a way. 661 FPV says, Mobula7 2020, and for the record, I kind of regret selling them, because right now, with all of these bell and stator swaps that I'm doing, I would love to have another set of 802 1.5 millimeter motor shaft bells on them. But I actually do have another set on the way, which is rad, which you guys will hear about when they get here. 661 FPV says, Mobula7 2024 is A30. Is it really? Oh, HappyModel, you shouldn't have. I'm glad you did, though. Fucking A right. Did they really do that? Oh, man, that... Faith in humanity restored. What a... Oh, yeah! That's great. That is really great. That's just... I mean, it's not that big a deal to solder up another lead. And... I actually prefer the BT 2.0 180-degree leads. So I might actually end up changing it over to this lead. But man, that is really good. That is just like fan-fucking-tastic that they did that. That makes me very happy. Good for you, HappyModel. Fuck yeah. Grey Hat says no love for the Flywoo Goku AIO. I've heard terrible things about the Flywoo Goku AIO. I don't know anybody that runs it. I assumed because of how bad I've heard the quality control is on them. Kevin Summer says, I emailed with Victor, the owner of Valerdis, today. He says the store was growing in the past few months. Jesus. But he wants intentionally to go a different direction, rather failing. So good news. Interesting. Huh. Kevin Sumner also says, Speedy FPV was the store with... Oh, right. With all the old gear that Dan was asking about a while ago. Nice. Thank you. I knew somebody would remember. Grey Hat says, plus I have the only sign set. That's true. But why did you sign the bottom? I would have been happy with top dead center. Thanks. I'm going to love them. I thought if I signed the top, it would get lost in all of the text and shit. Because my signature is fairly, like, intricate and whatnot. All right. Finally caught up on chat. It's only 10 after 12. 2 hours and 10 minutes of Q&A. Good Lord. But what's cool is all we're doing is flying tonight. So we're going to fly 6 or 8 batteries, and then we're going to wrap this shit up. We're just going to do 1 battery per because that's all I've got. No, I got more than that. Okay, no. We'll do 2 batteries on some of these. All right. So let's go from lowest power to weight to highest power to weight. That's how we'll do this here. So we're gonna start with Walksnail. Also because I have the Walksnail shit all set up from yesterday's stream. So we're gonna start off with man, no. I mean, you can't really... This is such a custom build. I like to... For example, the ultimate freestyle Tiny Whoop is just a Mobula 6 ELRS that you do a motor swap on and a battery lead swap. Same canopy, same camera. You don't need the true RC antenna. It just makes it so easy, right? These Walksnail builds, they're all over the goddamn place. So I can't easily explain them. Mobula 6 canopy, Walksnail Light VTX and camera, Tiny Whoop iGal Special Edition 0802 Bell on a Tiny Whoop onesie 0802 30,000 kV stator. So I've basically made my own iGal 30,000 kV 802s. BetaFPV Cross 5 amp AIO, BT 2.0. That's what we're going to start with. And unbelievably, this is the lowest power to weight 75mm rig that I've got. 30,000 kV is the bottom for me at this point. Kind of wild. What a time to be alive, eh, friends? All right, here we go. I got all the things set up. All the gates are set up. Ah! Get out of here. Am I ready? I'm not ready. Don't put these on yet, dummy. Transmitter. Set. We're going to fly WeBleed 450 mAh folded cell batteries on these guys. Yeah. Since the Walksnail system is heavy and like just sucks the juice out of these batteries, we're going to keep these Walksnail rigs on the 450s. There's no real reason to run these on the 300s. They would only run for like a minute and a half, I think. So the Walksnail rigs, realistically, if you're going to do one of these Walksnail 75mm builds, get these 450 mAh batteries. Don't try to run the 300s. You're just going to get annoyed changing batteries constantly. And the lower MAH batteries really sag like hell when they've got everything pulling on them like that. Hey! We've got video. Here we go, friends! Oh boy, what was that? That was a very weird... It like held on to that yaw input. That was strange. So, these Walksnail builds are a little heavy. That's one of the biggest things you're gonna notice. But, oh boy, man, I missed that. I didn't need to disarm, but I rearmed. Oh no! This is unrecoverable. Fuck you! Ah! You son of a bitch. Well, that'll, you know, that'll get you ready for what you're about to see. That's how we do it around here. We crash often and all the time and often. Stop crashing, little quad. It's not my fault at all. The little guy inside the quad that's on the actual flight controls, on the actual yoke, it's his fault. Oh! Wow. Ah, my God. So, these 30,000 kV 802s on this, they don't make the amount of power that I expect. And I have a really hard time flying this rig because of that. Eesh. And that's what you're seeing here. I really struggle. I struggle with all the 75mm rigs in the house because they're awful heavy for the really tight confines. And then, you know, I've got 8,000 gates set up. Yeah, see, like the bottom of the dive there, its pullout game is as weak as a man with 20 kids. Know what I'm saying? Pullout game weak. Oh! Hit the pole. And then the extra weight just makes it carry all this momentum. So like when I try to turn, it just kind of keeps sliding. But you can still do some stuff. And if I flew 100 batteries in a row on this, I'd get used to it. It still wouldn't be as good as something lighter or something with more power, but still, you get used to stuff. Easy. Yeah, see, there it is. I turned it and it just keeps sliding. I'm used to the lighter weight rigs where I can approach a thing off center, turn it like that, and have it actually change directions a little bit quicker. Again, though, you can do some stuff, and if I spend enough time, I could totally get used to it, and it would be a lot better than it currently is. But, in my opinion, the real answer, the real way to help this is more power. You know, we can't really make this any lighter. I've got the lightest weight frame, the lightest weight motors that can realistically spin this propeller with good response time without getting too hot and getting inconsistent and losing power and efficiency. The lightest weight AIO. Yes, this Walksnail VTX does still have the heat shield on it. So I could, and I will, when I pull this thing apart, I will absolutely take that off. But other than that, the lightest weight canopy, right? So this thing is as light as possible with off-the-shelf parts, which is important to me. And so, yeah, realistically, the solution is more power, baby. So let's fly that. I do not like flying this. I really don't. It doesn't have quite enough power. And this does. Same exact build, but instead of those 0802 30,000 kV motors. This has 0802 33,000 kV motors, and it does also have the heat shield removed from the Walksnail VTX, which unbelievably it does not really overheat much quicker. Somebody had done a test a while ago, and they told me that with the heat shield, it took 1.5 minutes for it to start overheating. Without it, it took 30 seconds. I have not had that experience with these two rigs, with and without that, and I can't even really tell any difference between the overheating times on these two. So, I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's Maybelline. Here we go. 33,000 kV. Oh, I thought I was going to get away with that. Oh, God. So one of the other things that I struggle with these Walksnail rigs inside the house here is the latency. Everything is so close together in here that lightning... Ooh, that was a hard hit. Lightning quick reflexes are super important. And I don't have lightning quick reflexes anymore. I'm turning 43 next month, or 2 months from now, and I can definitely tell that my reflexes are not what they once were. So, for me, yeah, and I wow, I usually can't feel. Like when I do like latency testing, I usually can't tell a difference. Oh! I can't believe I just hit the big power loop, even though I didn't land it all the way. With a 75, that's the first time I've ever hit that big power loop with a digital 75. Just make sure it wasn't a fluke. This thing's got some fucking power, dude. These motors are nuts. One more try. Oh, boy, I wasn't even close. Battery's sagging a little bit. That is a move that requires all the power. I don't even know where it is. Oh, it's over there. Oh, boy. That's not recoverable. I'm going to try, though. It's in the corner. Yeah, no, I ain't coming out of there. Hold on, little guy. I'll come get you. I don't remember what I was saying. It doesn't matter. Oh, battery's going dead on these goggles. Don't do that. Beep slower. No. Stop it! Stop it! Don't beep! No more beeping goggles. No more beeping. Woo! We got through there in a hurry. Oh, God! Right in the head. Easy. Hook! Oh! Now that's a Huckabee I can get behind. What do you think of that? You guys will not have to listen to that beeping for much longer, I promise. Oh my God. Oh my God. See that back and forth? See that like overcorrection back and forth? I think that is the latency, because I don't ever really have that problem on anything other than these Walksnail rigs. So I think it's just my brain expects a lower level of latency because of all the analog flying that I do, and I just add too much of a correction, right? Like my rates are the same. This rig has plenty of power. Yikes. I really think that is an effect of the additional latency of digital versus analog. Oh, there's there's me running the battery too low. So that is a brownout. It'll come back and I'll limp it home. Oh, I shouldn't. I should go pick it up off the floor. But that was some serious runtime. Let's see what the runtime is on that. 257. That's really good runtime. Oh, it's already right set up. And so I can fly it home because it browned out like that at full throttle. You got to pay attention and see it's bouncing back to 3.6 already, 3.56, and that's with Walksnail pulling on it. So I need to change the goggle battery because that will absolutely drive me into the pits of insanity and hell. So yeah, there you go. There's a couple of Walksnail 75mm builds for your personal enjoyment. Now we're going to go over to analog, which is much more realistic for flying inside of a really crowded space, indoors, hardcore freestyle style. Hardcore freestyle style. Did you get that all? Did you get it? Did you get it? You got it. You got it. Hey. There's another battery. Okay, let's get this in here real quick. And come on, go in there. Denzel the Turtle says we need more celebrity K-truck drivers on the stream. It sucks. Wow, man. After going to the RC drift place so much and chasing those guys around, chasing the little K-truck is just like not super interesting. And it's hard to drive the damn thing down here. This is an awkward kind of space. And I mean, you can only really do loops. I don't know, it'd be fun. It would be fun for sure. Iron Mask says, time to throw battery in the bin. Nah, man. These Walksnail builds, the Walksnail VTX pulls so hard on these little batteries that even if you overrun it like I just did and brown the Walksnail out, the battery will actually bounce all the way back up to damn near storage voltage. Like, it's probably already there. Is this the battery that I just flew? Yeah, this is the one that I just flew. It's warm. So it's all the way back up to 3.7 already. Walksnail... I mean, same thing with the Vistas. Boy, oh boy, they just... We don't notice it because we've never run them on such small batteries, but on a little 1S battery, good God, they just pull a ton of juice out of these little shitters. And I just realized that I don't need the Walksnail anymore because we're going to analog land. I do need my regular goggles, though, and... Where the hell they are? Are they still in here? Oh, well. They're still in here from drift car things last Thursday. All right. Here we go. Back to analog land where we belong. Hold on. I got to unplug and plug in the VRX. Unplug and plug. Should bring it back to life. Usually does. Hey, there it is. All right, so next step up in terms of power to weight is basically a NewBeeDrone Hummingbird V3 transplanted into a Mobula7 V4 frame, BT 2.0 swap, Gemfan 1.6-inch biblades. And on this guy, we're going to do two batteries. One of them is going to be the 300 mAh battery. One of them is going to be the 450 mAh battery. Let's do the 300 first. We'll start a little bit lighter, and then we'll run the heavier battery. If flying these in the house, which I don't really recommend, I definitely do like these on these analog rigs on the 300 mAh battery. Just because it's lighter, and the 75mm rigs are just kind of too heavy to fly inside, in my opinion, and in my vast experience. I have to change the module, I believe, for this thing to bind. I guess this is on elrs 2.5. Yep, there it is. All right. Hummingbird V3 in a 75mm frame. Good God. Hold on. Jesus. Hang on. All right, hold on. Easy, 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 easy. Relax, 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 relax. Okay, okay, there we go. Ooh! Ooh, God! Ooh, Jesus fucking hell balls! This is not... Oh, okay. This is not fun. This is just survival. This is, like, it's just too much. This is an outdoor / warehouse build. Wow, I missed that gate. How the hell did I miss that gate? I missed it again! What is happening? There we go. Oh, boy. Oh, God. Oh, Jesus Christ on a cracker. It's just, it's too much. Yo, by the way, the iGal bell that I fixed on the last live stream with the Loctite 638, boy, did it ever work. It is, yeah, it's like good to go. I'm really impressed by Loctite 638. Whew, all right. Jesus, and this is low camera angle, as you can tell by the acres of duct in view. Whew. Oh boy. Oh baby, that would have been sick. That was the most hang time I think I've ever gotten. I went into it nice and low, and I blipped the throttle just the right amount to go all the way up to the roof. Oh! Jeez. Oh, come on! Oh. You can see this 300 mAh battery is already kind of... Oh, really? Oh, come on now! You fucker! How are you gonna... How are you gonna get stuck under the corner of the fucking Stig helmet, you scumbag? Come on now. All right. Jesus, this is fucking nuts. This is the BI camera. Yeah, this is a Hummingbird V3 transplant. Where's my OSD? There's the OSD. Ah, it's a little dark up here. Jesus. Ooh. And we're a low battery. Yeah, it would definitely be better up here, but the problem with it upstairs is the extra weight. Like it hits stuff really hard, and I don't want to break any of Maggie's stuff. Maggie has some really beautiful pottery from a what are people that make pottery called? Are they called potters? She has some really beautiful potteries from a pottery maker that she was really good friends with, who passed away, I think it was last year. And so, yeah, I cannot, like, I have no problem flying the 65mm rig up there because it's just not heavy enough to break stuff. But I'm just not nearly as confident with the 75s in that respect. So, yeah, I will not spend much time up there with them. And they're still too big. Like it's still the 65s are still better upstairs. Upstairs is not big enough to really warrant. I need my OSD to come back so I can see where the battery's at. So the flickering OSD. So yeah, there's the runtime of the 300. It's not a ton, but it is significantly lighter with these 300 mAh batteries, which really does help flying it inside. All that being said, I mean, I'm not good enough of a pilot to really make these 75s work in the house and confidently fly them and do all the things that I want to do. They're sculptors. Thank you, Rain Squad. Yeah, the 75mm rigs in the house, it's like you put the nose down a little bit and they're just gone. It's just like, ooh, ooh, ooh. I mean, you guys can hear me. It's just the whole time I'm flying, I'm just holding on for dear life. I'm not able to like relax and enjoy myself and like plan a line out. It's just like, yeah, try not to die the whole time. Which, you know, I mean, I guess that's fun in a way, but it kind of gets old fast. Like, yeah, it's not my thing. If you like it, awesome. I love that for you. But personally, I think that 65s are just a way better idea for inside the house flying. So this is the same rig, but with the 450 mAh battery. Woo boy! So you can also kind of tell it's the BI camera by the field of view. Look how wide this field of view is. Like, look at the sides of the frame. Look how like much there is. I don't know. I fly the RunCam Nano so much that when a camera has mega field of view, like this one does, I really do notice it. I don't even know if we went through that gate. I couldn't even tell. Oh, I just caught the edge of the boom stand there. Oh, that was my bad. I did not pitch back nearly enough. Oh God! You thought I crashed a lot with 65 mil rigs. Give me a fucking 75 mil rig and all we'll do is crash. Ah! I got it really good twice in a row and now I just can't. Oh, that's the impossible power loop. Oh, I did a little wall bump there. That was kind of cool. Oh my God. Please, no. I'm really hell-bent to get that move. We did go through the gate on that one. Ah, I missed that one, though. Oh, I didn't need to disarm there. Didn't need to disarm there either. Nope. Didn't make it through that gate. Ah! Oh my God. It's like a fucking bull in a china shop with these 75s in here. Oh my God, come on. So one of the problems that I'm having that's really being shown right here, you can kind of hear it. Listen to after when I chop the throttle. You hear how it kind of slowly spins back down? Let me do it again. It goes the higher weight rotating assembly of these 75 millimeters, right? Bigger, heavier props, bigger, heavier motors. They do not spin up and down as quick as a 65. And what ends up happening, I'll show you here. So I'm gonna line this circle gate up perfectly. All right, I'm gonna line up perfectly with this. That means that something is wrong. That means I'm. Fuck me. Thank you. When did it die? Did I not? I just didn't hit the button. I have another one of these batteries. We're going to talk about what I was just talking about, because it is an important thing. We're just going to pretend like that battery never happened. God damn it. God damn it. No, this is my last 450. We're not going to fly another battery on it. We're going to fly another 300 on it. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. With a 300, it'll be fine. The 75 millimeter setups do not slow down the propeller as quickly as 65s. And so what happens is if you chop the throttle and then turn the thing over, either fully invert. If you add any roll, even though you've chopped the throttle early, it'll still drag some of that thrust, so it won't go dead straight ahead. It'll go up and over like this. So you can't line shit up perfectly. You have to line stuff up off to the side and then hope you throw into it. And that's why I'm having such a hard time with the... I almost did it again. That's why I'm having such a hard time with the... which you didn't get to see, but... with the dive tunnel. Fuck you. Ooh! Oh, and the battery popped out. For Christ's sakes, Jim. God damn it. Wait, no. The solution is to put the battery in from the front. I remember this. I remember this problem. Okay, battery in from the front. And then I won't have this battery pop out issue anymore. Now just rip the BT 2.0 off. Alright, that should be good. Okay. So, here's what I'm talking about. I'm going to line up this GemFan logo and this gate perfectly, but then I'm going to turn to the left before I get there, and watch how far over it's going to get pushed. Ready? So we're lined up. I'm going to back up. I'm going to keep it lined up. Ready? Watch this. It's hard to see. It's really hard to see. Let me try it again. I think I'll do it earlier. I'll do the throttle blip earlier. Ready? Here we go. See that? There you go. You could totally see it there. And so what you end up having to do is like change the way that you fly, and you have to either chop the throttle way earlier, or you have to try to line everything up wrong. You have to try to line stuff up like... So I would have to fly at the side of this gate. See that? See how I was aimed towards the complete side of the gate, but then when I went through the damn thing, I was dead center? Like, that's annoying as hell, and 65 mil rigs don't do that. So let me try to chop the throttle really early. See if that helps. Ready? Yeah, it's hard to tell, because I'm having to put in such a giant gap. Nope, I completely missed the gate. It still did it. It seems like there's less braking force with these, and the braking force is what keeps that from happening, because it breaks down the other two motors. Like, no matter what, when you add roll, it's going to spin one set of motors up and add thrust. So, like, no matter what, you're going to get a little bit of this. But I notice so much more of it on these 75 mil rigs than any of the 65s. So yeah, there's a couple reasons that I find 75 really, really hard to fly indoors. Mainly, though, it's just the weight. It's just, no matter what, it's going to be heavier. And, yeah, trying to do, like, really, really, really technical stuff inside is just very, very difficult. And so, for me, who's not, like, the best pilot in the world, I have to do things to my builds to make the situation easier. Rather than relying on like an infinite set of piloting skills. And yeah, that's okay. Like, it's okay to build a rig that flatters you rather than just flying something that somebody else flies really, really well. You know what I'm saying? And I think we're about at the end of this battery. But, ow, god damn you, it bit me! You son of a bitch, 75 bullshit. I might bleed from that. Nah, I won't bleed from that. You little bastard. I brought you into this world. I can take you out of it. Woo, boy. Okay, great. Then there's that. All right, let's fly one more 75 millimeter rig in the house and then never do it again. What do you say? Here we go. Last but obviously not least, is the Jungle Gym Basher, which is a Mobula7 V4 1S ELRS. I'm sorry. Mobula7 1S ELRS with the iGAO motors, the 802 27,000 kV iGAO motors. Little Foxeer Razor camera, BT 2.0, of course, and yeah, lots and lots of donkeys. They're free of charge. Here we go. CMYK has also been on a journey to try to understand 75mm rigs. He's been flying them outside, though, and he can't even figure out why anybody likes them outside. He's digging on 65 with mega KV outside. I almost did it. So, yeah. It's, I don't know. 65s are way more optimized than 75s. And I think that might be what CMYK is noticing. Hey! I spent a bunch of time flying jungle gyms with both 65 and 75. And I really dug the extra power of the 75s, being able to like interact with big trees and stuff like that. But for the really technical stuff in the jungle gyms, 65s are definitely better for all the same reasons that they're better in here. So yeah, different tools for different jobs. No wrong answers, though. If for some reason you think 75s are better inside and you've given high KV, lightweight 65mm rigs a proper chance, then yeah, nothing wrong with that. But most people that swear 75mm rigs are better inside have not flown a proper lightweight, high KV 65mm rig. And then when they do, I get the message of like, sorry man, you were right. Which is quite gratifying. But I would rather not have that. I would rather have people just not think that I'm lying for no reason, because, you know, there's not a corporation of 65mm stockholders that pay me to say this. I don't give a fuck what you fly. I just want you to fly what is going to work better so that you have more fun. Oh, that's never good. Never, ever, ever good when you smash into something and lose video. What that hopefully means, though, is it's the battery ejected. Yeah, the battery ejected. We're good. These 300 mAh fat boy batteries are a little bit too small for this battery tray, and yeah, they can just pop out like that. I used to have electric tape around them to make that situation better, but the Meteor 75 airframe, when I have electric tape on these batteries, they don't go into that frame. So yeah. Also, can you notice the difference in the video quality between the NewBeeDrone and this HappyModel? This is the video quality that you get from the from the giant OSD chip. What the fuck are you doing? Why are you doing that? You son of a bitch. All right, let's fly this on a 450 and then we'll be done with 75mm in the house. Although I'm going to do it one more time at some point here when I get the bells swapped over. I got to do that iGAO bell swap on the Walksnail rig. Flat spot towards me. Here we go. 450 mAh WeBleed battery on the Jungle Gym Basher. This ought to be nuts. This is a fairly low up tilt mount too, but it's just so much power. Hey, hey! Jesus, easy. Relax, 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 relax. Ooh! Ah! You can get, like, you know, as I always say, you can get used to stuff. You guys are watching me get used to these big-ass heavy rigs. In fairness, though, just because you can get used to it doesn't mean it's the right thing. Right? You can get used to a fucking brain tumor, but it's getting used to it ain't gonna prevent it from killing your ass. And 75mm rigs gonna kill your ass. The question of if I could only have one tiny whoop, what should it be? Is actually a really interesting one. I don't know where I would end up on that. I think I would end up on 65, but you could make a hell of an argument for 75 being better indoors and outdoors together. Although it would kind of go back to... It would really need to go back to where your fly spots are. If you can only have one tiny whoop and you're going to fly more inside than out, that one tiny whoop should be 65. And vice versa. Unless you're CMY. CMYK would answer that unequivocally with 65. He's having a better time with 65s outside. You can still do plenty of shit with 75s. It's just way harder and way more like out of control and like chaos, and you're gonna it's gonna make an already difficult flying experience, which is flying tiny whoops inside, that much more difficult. So yeah, you better have a lot of time to put in a shitload of stick time, because otherwise you're gonna crash as much as me. But you're not, without even trying to do the absolutely absurd shit that I'm constantly trying to do. Ah! That's the weight, man. That's the weight. It just has all this momentum. It just doesn't want to stop. You gotta, like, lose the horizon. You can't fly it flat. You gotta fly it like a racer with all this roll angle on all the time, like that. And I don't like the way that looks. I think that looks terrible as, like, as camera footage, you know? Like, maybe if you're approaching it like a fighter pilot, it's like, nah, I like the way this looks. But I don't, you know? I approach a lot of this stuff as, like, kind of like as a filmmaker, right? That's what I want to do. And as a filmmaker... Yeah, you can't lose the horizon constantly like that. It's just hard to watch. Ah! Ooh, this battery's toast. Woo! There it is, my friends. Let's do 165 real quick, just to give you a little head-to-head. Ooh, that battery's a little too hot. This is the ultimate freestyle tiny whoop on the 0702 36,000s. Real quick, like. I have 2 of these batteries sitting here charged, and I don't want them to sit here charged for any longer than they need to. And I love giving context, you know? So listen after I chop the throttle to how silent and how quick it goes silent. Ready? Oh God, stop it. It touched me. Ready? Hear that? It just rip, rip, rip. It just instantly pulls the motors down. So doing that same test that we did before, lining up the GemFan logo. Ready? So still goes dead through the center. That's gonna go into the back. Fuck you. Stop it! No! Why? Why are you like this? Yeah, massive difference in I don't know what we call that, like accuracy when chopping the throttle and dumping a bunch of roll in. All right. Oh, I'm stuck behind the door. Oh, stop it. Oh, stop it. Oh, God damn it. Why can't I be better at flying? Oh, right into the goddamn couch. Ah! Oh my God, what the fuck? Oh, get the hell out of here. Ooh, a spicy little NewBeeDrone gate hit. Oh! God, I really appreciate the 65mm rigs so much more after flying a bunch of 75s. It just feels so much better for this space. Just I turned too much. Hey! Oh, really? 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 I was really trying to cheat that and come out of it super low, because what I wanted to do was this. Oh, you son of a bitch. What I wanted to do was this. Oh, you son of a bitch! What I wanted to do was this. Ah, and I got it. That was the plan, but I wanted to like exaggerate it. It looks, woo! Crash recovery had a little hiccup there. It actually looks cooler, but it also makes it easier to go low and then throw it up like that, because you're giving yourself more time. The lower you are, the more time you've got to turn it over and like aim for the top gate. So yeah, if you're having trouble, like, so the Matty flips are my favorite example of this. If you're having trouble hitting Matty flips in the house, start it really low and then go, yep. And then you've got all that time. Look at how much time I've got to pitch that thing forward. Yeah, you want to maximize in the house. You want to really maximize your, the bottom and the top of your throws. Yeah, your throws. You want to maximize the, just be as low as possible and then throw it as high as possible. And that'll give you the most hang time. So it kind of looks the coolest, but it also gives you the most time to line that shit up on the that's hanging from the ceiling, or just, yeah, up high. Whoo! Damn. Oh, there's that sticker peeling off. This right here is why I prefer the Walksnail, my God. The WeBleed 300 mAh BT 2.0 batteries over any of the other ones, because all of the other ones have these stickers that peel off. The WeBleed ones have one big ass sticker that goes from the plastic all the way around the back, all the way around the front. It's a super nerdy, super specific, kind of insane reason, but they're all the batteries are all the same, so you might as well have a reason. And it does become annoying the 80th time you put the battery in and it gets all jacked up. Adam Weston says that accuracy issue reminds me of 6-inch versus 5-inch. Adam, yes. That is a perfect example. I remember that from when I went to 6-inch way back when. It just hung. This is what kind of leads me to the thought that the 65s, in the same respect of 5-inch rigs, the motor sizing, KV construction, has been just R&D'd to death with thousands and thousands and thousands of pilots to get the just that like powertrain perfected, right? The weight, the pitch, the size of the 5-inch propeller paired with 2306s, 2207s. It's just perfect, and the response time and everything has been absolutely dialed in. 6-inch has not. So with a 6-inch propeller, first of all, the 6-inch props are significantly heavier. Like, it's not a correct scale. And one of the reasons is it has to do with the resonant frequency of the length of the blades. One of the reasons why they settled on 5-inch props way back when is that the resonance frequency of a 5-inch long propeller blade is not so low that it bleeds into the 100 to 200 hertz window where the actual motion of the quad is. If you've got any vibrations below 200 hertz, it is incredibly difficult to filter out, because below 200 hertz is where the actual motion of the quad is. And so if you drop a filter on 150 hertz, when you get your stick position into the spot where this thing is rotating at 150 hertz, there's going to be a filter there, and the PID loop is going to shit its pants, because, like, what the hell, you're filtering out this frequency that the stick command is entering in, right? And so that's one of the other reasons that 6-inch had a hard time. So in order to counteract that, they would have to make the blades thicker and stronger to get that resonant frequency up higher, out of, for you it's this way, up higher, above, significantly above 200. But the biggest thing, I think, is just that we spent so much time dialing in 5-inch props and motors and frames and all up weights and blah, 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 blah. I think the exact same thing, we're in the middle of the same exact thing with 65s, right? 65 millimeter has been the most popular tiny whoop forever. And so, of course, we're going to have better dialed in motors, propellers, frames, right? So it kind of feels like the same sort of situation where eventually, I'll bet you, we do have 75 millimeter motor prop combos that will kind of fix that issue, but it just feels like at the moment we don't quite have that. I feel like I'm getting closer to it with this Walksnail build, that we're now all the way up to 0802 33,000 kV, right? This is like the difference in response time between this and any other 75 millimeter setup that I've had is real. It's very noticeable. So I think that we're getting there, but yeah, I don't know. Because like, it can't just be that like, oh, this propeller is heavier, because like, yeah, then the motor needs to get bigger, right? Like we can always get response time back by going with a usually bigger, sometimes just higher kV motor, more powerful motor. Let's just say that, right? It's just, you have to find that combo, and that's hard to do. Like, you can't find it on the thrust stand. Thrust stand stuff, it's just not there. Like, once these props are unloaded in the air with incoming, with 10, 20, 30 miles an hour of incoming air, everything changes. So like the thrust stand is just, the info that we get from thrust stands, the data that we get is great. Don't get me wrong, it's great. But it does not tell the whole story. And we've gotten to see that recently with these crazy high KV 702s. If you take a 30,000 kV 702 and a 32,000 kV 702 and you put them on the thrust stand, the 32,000s don't make any more power. But in the air, you better goddamn believe that you can tell a difference between 30 and 32. And now we're all the way up to 36, and you can still tell the difference up at 36. So yeah, it's tough to do. It's really, really, really tough to do. I wish somebody would figure out how to do a thrust stand with some kind of like a wind tunnel in the front of it. Or I can't believe that nobody has just taken like an AIO and put a propeller in front of the propeller that they're testing and just put like a lower KV propeller in front to at least get some incoming air. I think the problem is how much is that offset? So yeah, I don't know. It's tough. But boy, oh boy, is it fun trying to figure that shit out. Kevin Sumner with the last comment on live stream. He says, I'm a bit concerned that people running 03 on Tiny Whoops is pushing focus to 85 millimeters. I don't like it. Yeah, I have gotten an awful lot of questions about 85 millimeter builds. Yeah, I don't know. Anybody that tries to fly an 85 millimeter rig in the house is going to very quickly realize what a mistake it was. Like, Christ, I have a hard time with 75s in the house. I can't fucking imagine an 85. That'd be a goddamn nightmare. But yeah, I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying. All right, friends. Oh shit, Tyrant's in the house. Tyrant, what's up, brother? You still here? Thanks for coming, dude. Very cool of you. I'm going to make you a moderator because I want your name to come up in blue, but you do not have to moderate. I would actually prefer that you not moderate because I have plenty of moderators. But I want your name to come up in blue so I can notice you. I almost didn't see you. I'm going to make you a standard moderator. Cool. Shit, man, you came at the last... I'm about to... It's late, man. Oh fuck, it's 1 a.m. Sorry, I gotta go. It's been 3 hours. That's too much. Tyrant, come back if you want, man. I'd love to see you hang out and yeah. I wish I wish I could figure better out how to like have people on, but I don't know. I'm just not like an interviewer, man. Like when I have people on the streams, like it feels totally out of control and like. I don't know. I don't know how to like do that, and I don't think I'm really good at it. So yeah, I don't know. I guess you could say like in order to get good at it, you got to do it a bunch. But I don't know. It's weird. It's just weird, man. It's just weird. Be good, friends. I love you. Here comes some drift car chasing as always. Be good. Don't die. Love you guys. Bye. I'm not ready. Love you guys. Bye.